The Theater Arts program was first offered in 2015 in response to the growing theater industry in the Philippines. What we did with the program is we divided it into 2 tracks so students can choose between the performance and the production track. Our students stand out because the program seeks to capitalize on the growth of the industry. So we give our students in-depth training in histories, in theories, and also in practice. Anybody who is interested and who is very much willing to learn about production and performance can definitely enroll in Benilde's Theater Arts program. Because we, as their faculty, we're also very much willing to teach them. The Theater Arts program fosters innovation through diverse inclusion. By being inclusive, we support and respect differences. This can actually be reflected in the quality of education, the environment, and the work that we produce. Our faculty are industry practitioners and leaders who are trailblazers in the academic field. The Theater Arts program creates a great environment conducive to learning and fostering creativity and technical innovation because we offer the students with the most current and advanced facilities.
I've been a theater professional for more than 15 years. I have a master's degree. I am a senior artist teacher of the Philippine Educational Theater Association, or PETA. I'm also an associate festival director of the Fringe Manila International Festival, particularly in charge of the program for Fringe University. I've trained with PETA, Tanghalang Pilipino, UP. I've trained with Stella Adler Studio of Acting and Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts as well. I teach introductory subjects in the practice of theater. I also teach theater history and theater readings, particularly those of theories, and also that of acting. Teaching is a way for me to contribute positively to the industry, to produce future theater professionals who will continuously explore possibilities and raise the standards of the industry, especially here in the Philippines. But more importantly, I teach to share the belief that theater is more than just a form of entertainment. It can bridge gaps and unify communities. It can resolve conflict. It can be a tool to effect positive social change. We welcome individuals who have the desire or passion, who would like to explore ways on how to tell stories differently, whether they want to create them, perform them, or simply make it happen. In the Theater Arts program, we don't just teach our students. We guide them in the start of their journey to discover themselves and discover their potentials, discover their capacities to create, and more importantly, believe that they can make things happen for themselves, for their communities, for Filipinos, and hopefully for the world. Musta is a multi-sensory, experiential journey that takes the audience through immersive spaces that unravels the inner workings of depression and mental health difficulties.
To me, I find it very brave and encouraging because an issue about mental health is very relevant. It's a conversation right now, and it gives the information out there that something is happening and there's something we can do about it.
The goal of the production is to encourage greater awareness about depression and about mental health. But it's actually more than just awareness. By putting the contraction of the Filipino word kamusta, how are you, or musta, as a title, it intends to interrogate the kind of relationships that we form within our communities, within our societies.
When it comes to technical and the creative process, it was actually really fun and of course busy because we had a lot of installations, but we also got challenging part of the technical and designing of the production itself. Is we actually used recycled bottles, the garbage bags and all that.
A lot about this production that's very new and very uncommon about any production that involves story, because it requires the audience to participate willingly and with a sense that they can choose how quickly they want to go through the story or how deeply they want to be involved in the story.
I feel great. I feel very, as a Benilde student, I feel very honored to be part of an event such as this, because it really provides us a training ground for our education. In here, we really learn by doing, and that's the beauty that Benilde does.
So I'm actually grateful for having this kind of events because I'm able to portray my abilities as an arts manager. I'm able to communicate and connect with people, not only communicate with people but also be able to know more about the production itself. You get involved in the production and it's really great.
Musta tells a story about depression, but it's more than just that. We want people to be aware of themselves. We want people to be aware of other people, be mindful of their experiences so that they will have an idea on how to live life each and every single moment of it. This performing arts workshop is a collaboration between Asrama Butitin, La Salvador's House, and the Office of Lasallian Missions in collaboration with the Benilde Arts and Culture Cluster. This is our second year doing this project in this beautiful and lovely community, Asrama Butitin.
We saw how much the students learned from our last year's workshop and have proposed again for us to be able to come back this year, 2017. So this year, we are a much more bigger group, and the involvement of faculty from Theater Arts Design Foundation, dance, music, and production design programs. We also have students from the Theater Arts program and alumni from the technical theater and production design programs.
We came back to Malaysia because we miss the people, the culture, and the food. This is our second time going in Malaysia, and seeing these kids again made us nostalgic about the first time we went here. We saw the same kids again, and there are a bunch of new ones who we had no troubles in getting to know and getting too close to.
After tapping into their expressive potentials last year, this time it's all about enhancing their capacities to create stories drawn from their community that is right for their culture and tradition.
This year, the culminating activity is the integration of the 5 workshops about the legend of Mount Kinabalu. Students from De La Salle Butitin will choreograph, work on their own lines, create the set pieces and costumes, and compose their own music for their final output.
Aktiviti ini dapat berlaku bersama rekan-rekan saya. Walaupun mencoba, kerana ini dapat memberikan saya banyak kebaikan. Tanpa kerjasama, diri saya tidak akan dapat membuat satu aktiviti. Bekerjasama dalam kumpulan amatlah penting, karena tanpa kerjasama kita tidak akan berjaya dalam sesuatu aktiviti.
Importante sa akin itong journey na to kasi I get to meet new people with new culture, with new lifestyle na ibang-iba from Manila na I think will help me get more ideas for my course and for the program I chose. I think it's very important to have these kinds of workshops. Tulad nga na sinasabi ng aming consultant at ng aming mga professor, always share. And sharing is the most important thing in life kasi you develop social relationship.
Pengalaman saya dengan Bernard dan rekan-rekan ialah dalam melukis apa saja yang sukar. Secara keseluruhannya yang saya boleh katakan mengenal kerjasama ini bersama dengan Bernard dan ialah dapat mengenali bangsa Murut dan bangsa Tagalog.
Well, I want them to learn lifelong skills, especially in understanding the world visually. I want them to learn rudimentary drawing skills. And I also like the collaboration between our workshop and the other workshops in creating the production. I think the workshops here in Butitin pushes our school's vision of innovation and inclusion to a really different level as we are going out of the boundaries of our own country and exploring collaborations with other cultures.
I think it is very much in line with Benilde's mandate to be inclusive in that we don't just extend our reach within our borders, but we cross seas, mountains, oceans to share what we know and what we love.
It has always been embedded in me to give service to our community and fellow Lasallian brothers and sisters. I hope that this cycle of serving the community and our fellow Lasallian brothers and sisters will not end.
Before we begin today's webinar episode, we invite you to join us in prayer and afterwards in the singing of the Philippine National Anthem.
Let me be the change I want to see. To do with strength and wisdom all that needs to be done, and become the hope that I can be. Set me free from my fears and hesitations. Grant me courage and humility. Give me the spirit to face the challenge and start the change I long to see. Today I start the change I want to see. Even if I'm not the light, I can be the spark in faith, service and communion. Let us start the change we want to see, the change that begins in me. Today I start the change I want to see. Even if I'm not the light, I can be the spark in faith. Service and communion, let us start the change we want to see, the change that begins here in me. Live Jesus in our hearts forever.
Mayang magiliw, pera sa silangan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiging, sa manlulupig, di ka masisi. Sa dagat at mundong sasimayan, sa langit mamakaw, may nilagang tulad, awit sa panlayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagdidinig. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng buwan, ating pagsinta mo ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya ng may mga mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's going to be another awesome and valuable learning session. I'm Eric Villanueva de la Cruz from Benilde Theater Arts Program, and I will be your moderator for this session. We thank you for joining us today and spending your time to learn and share your thoughts with us. I'm joining this session from Mandaluyong City, and I would like to invite you to say hello and tell us where you are joining us from by typing on the Facebook comment box. Please note that we have at least a 20-second delay as we are broadcasting live from Zoom and to this Facebook stream. Right now, we continue to navigate this unprecedented time, and so far, the only thing certain is the uncertainty of our situation. As we transition into the new realities brought about by the pandemic, more than ever, artists are needed to imagine, realize, and manifest new visions for the future. And so we designed this webinar series for you, artists, students, enthusiasts, or anyone who might find our sessions helpful and encouraging during this difficult period, whatever stage of coping or recovery you might find yourselves in. The most important thing is that we be together, which is the title of this webinar series. Just a bit of information about the webinar. Be Together is organized by the Theater Arts Program under the Arts and Culture Cluster in the School of Design and Arts of the De La Salle College of St. Benilde. This webinar series is the first of many offerings of the Benilde Theater Series, or BTS, an interdisciplinary platform for practitioners, educators, and researchers, both locally and internationally, to share their significant experiences and studies in the field related to theater and the performing arts. In its first season, Be Together convenes Benildians, friends, and partners in the field of theater and related disciplines in the spirit of mutual goodwill and cooperation. It also aims for the exchange of significant experiences and learnings in responding to the current crisis and provide an opportunity to discuss and listen to valuable insights and strategies in shaping a meaningful future for the industry. The webinar series is divided into 3 strands. To Get Here, which facilitates reflections, learning points, and realizations on the current mobility and platform restrictions. To Get There, which examines new strategies and approaches in producing and creating productions geared towards sustainability and promotion of our practice. And Together, which looks into viable ways and means to help the performing arts community during the pandemic. Now, we acknowledge that screen fatigue, Zoom fatigue is real, so we encourage you to go see the webinar sessions that you feel might be useful to you. And of course, that you'll help us share the word, especially to people and groups who could benefit from our sessions. So, just quickly before I hand it over to our speakers, a few housekeeping rules. During the session, we invite you to engage with each other on the comment section of this live stream. Please feel free to contribute your thoughts and ideas, or maybe even share a link or an example relating to this topic or topic of discussion to enrich the discussion for everyone. Also, if you have questions for our speakers, please send it through the comments. Or, if you want to remain anonymous in asking your question, you can send through Facebook Messenger by directly messaging this page. We have a wonderful team managing your comments, and we will try to get through as many questions as we can during Q&A after our speaker's presentation. More importantly, we invite you to help us improve this webinar series by completing a quick survey, which will be posted occasionally in the Facebook comment section of this live stream. We're open to suggestions for future webinar topics that might interest you. A recording of our session will be made available on our YouTube channel in the coming weeks, so please check back to this Facebook page in the coming days for the announcement. Please keep yourselves updated to our upcoming webinar sessions this week and fresh new episodes which we'll be creating in the coming months based on your suggestions. And of course, while you're here, might as well like and share our page. And lastly, this webinar series is entirely online, free, and open to the public as part of Benilde's fundraising collaboration with De La Salle Philippines Kada Uno on the project BARKada Uno, Benilde Artists Rising, #Bangon Artista, an online fundraising event that seeks to assist the most vulnerable members of the arts and culture sector. So please donate what you can. We appreciate your help. All right, that's about it. Let's now go to our 8th episode in Art-E Community, using KUMU as a creative digital platform for theater. Now, at the onset of the pandemic, with its accompanying restrictions and lockdowns, almost all individual artists, groups, and companies felt there was a race, if not a need, to transform and migrate their practice to the digital platform. And while we do admit that it was somewhat challenging and difficult, and still some remained resistant, after a year of creating in isolation, we can now look back and recognize the efforts of practitioners who explored other platforms for their creative expression, which is why I am so thrilled and also proud to introduce our speakers for today's webinar. They have successfully established their practice in the digital platform KUMU, and they have generously agreed to share their strategies and learnings to us today. So, let's now meet our first speaker. He is a learning and development consultant, EQ-based personality development trainer, beauty queen maker, and TEDx Talks speaker. He is also creating various online performances ranging from talk shows, variety shows, concerts, improv, and performance art. And now he is a featured content creator in the Pinoy live streaming and social networking service app, KUMU. Please welcome Mr. JV Canta.
And hi, Eric.
Hi, JV. It's wonderful to have you here with us.
Yes, and I'm so honored to be here, and I'm very excited to share everything that I know about KUMU to you guys.
All right. Thank you for making time. And so I hand it over to you. JV, take it away.
All right. Thank you. All right, everybody. Good afternoon. And I'm so happy to be here. The reason why I'm happy, it's not because I'm invited, not just that. I'm excited because I am going to share something that some of you might find interesting and some something that could definitely help you during this pandemic. So let's do this. Kumu 101 with me, JV Can Talk, or you can call me JV Kanta. That's my real name. I'm just used to saying JV Can Talk because that's my name in Kumu. All right, so let's go to our first slide. I would just want to give a brief introduction about myself. So number one, I am a theater enthusiast. I've been in love with theater since I was in college, and I really wanted to go back to theater last year. But then again, we all know what happened. We have this pandemic. I remember it was still ECQ that time that I was really looking into a space where I can practice my creativity. I wanted to create performances, but I just don't know how. Later, I'm gonna tell you guys how I eventually went to Kumu. And yeah, speaking of Kumu, I am a featured streamer there. And as a content creator, I experiment a lot with my content. I'm also a pageant coach, and also I had a TEDx talk in UPLB in 2019. So with everything that I have mentioned, I think I have everything that I need to create a lot of content in Kumu. As you can see, that's my profile. I have several followers already, and several contents or several programs that I have created in the past. We will go to that part into detail in the next coming slides. Can we have the next slide, please? Okay, so let's talk about Kumu. What is Kumu? So Kumu is a Filipino-centric social media platform. That means its target market are mostly Filipinos from all over the world. And it provides a real-time earning opportunity for streamers. So basically, anyone can be a streamer, anyone can go on Kumu, and anyone can earn money from it. Another way to have Kumu as your preferred platform would be, joining contests, because there's a lot of program like game shows there where you can win cash. Yes, that actually happens. And of course, my favorite part is that we also create communities where we can, talk to people. Especially during this pandemic, it's so difficult to be alone. Like myself, I live on my own here in Makati. I don't have anyone with me. So my only source of human interaction is through this digital platform. So can we go to the next slide, please? All right, so who's in Kumu? Because of course we have a lot of digital platforms. We have Facebook, we have Instagram, TikTok, and so on and so forth. But in Kumu, most of the people there are mostly millennials and Gen Zs. So technically, bagets, mga bata, ang mga nasa Kumu. There's over 7 million registered members. And I think right now, it's even beyond that, because Kumu has been expanding month over month, and also they had this partnership with ABS-CBN. PBB even held their auditions on Kumu, so it's actually bigger now than ever. Most of the users are 17 to 34, as mentioned, Gen Zs and millennials, mostly female, mostly women are the users of Kumu. And the most important thing, I guess, that caught my attention here is the stickiness of that. So according to the numbers, this is actually coming from a presentation that I saw from Kumu. Typically, a user will stay around an hour in the platform. So basically, for that 1 hour, you can already create so many things. You can create performances, you can talk to people, and so on and so forth. All right, next slide, please. As I mentioned, it is Filipino-centric. So basically, it's bringing Filipinos from all over the world together in this one social platform. So basically, when you go on live stream, you might be talking to somebody, let's say, from Makati to Cagayan de Oro, to someone in Japan, to the Middle East, to the United States. Basically, Filipinos all over the world, and there's a lot of OFWs in the app. So as you can see, 75% of the users are based in the Philippines. However, there's also an ever-growing market from people in North America as well as in the Middle East. So when it comes to the age, I mentioned earlier that it's mostly Gen Zs and millennials. So when I first joined the app, I noticed that most of the viewers or the streamers are very very IG and very TikTok kind of people. So what do I mean by that? So they're very energetic, very lively, very creative. There's a lot of colorful backgrounds and so on and so forth. So next slide, please. So why did I go to KUMU? Okay, I have 3 points. So number one, at the time when I still in my room last year, that's around May, I was really looking for a space where I can create. And that's my number one. It is a creative outlet. It's actually a space where I can do so many things. As you can see in the image, one of the most creative output that I have created for KUMU would have to be staging a play. So I know it's not the typical type of performance like what we see on stage, because of course we are only limited by those 4 slots that you can see. But then I thought to myself, wait, when you are watching performance, what's the typical structure, or what is the typical look of a play? Of course, a proscenium type of performance is practically you seeing it on a frame or a box. So what I thought to myself, maybe we can do that in KUMU. So I tried to do a stage reading of a play that I've written in 2009 for the Virgin Lapis Playwriting Workshop. And it's titled XP, and I actually got 2 aspiring actors from the community to act it out. So we did a month's worth of practice, and then it's challenging, but I think we made it work. So that's my first reason. The second reason is that it's just an earning opportunity. I remember when I first heard about KUMU, that's always the first part that I hear. It is another opportunity to earn money. Initially, I did not believe it, not really understanding how it works. But later, I will tell you how I made it work. Because right now, I'm actually making, I'm making KUMU as my secondary source of income. I'm actually doing quite well. And I think with the right information and the right knowledge, you can actually do that as well at the comforts of your own home, right? And then the third one is it's all about building connections. I am an extrovert, I am a creative, and can you just imagine what is the effect of this pandemic and this quarantine to my own mental health? I need to talk to people. So that's why I am on KUMU. In KUMU, I can always go to anyone's live stream, talk to them, open a discussion, stay there for hours, talk to them as if they are my real friends. The thing about KUMU that I like over, let's say, Facebook, is that on Facebook, when you're chatting with your friends, they have that option to just, seeing you, scene zone. Typically, it happens, diba? But then again, in KUMU, you have no way to do that simply because it's live streaming and people will ask you and they will wait for your answer. And then eventually will be forced to engage with them. KUMU is all about engagement. That's why I love it. And that's why it's also good in building connection. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so let's talk about my story. How did this happen? So last year, after watching so many videos online about self-improvement, gaining new skills, I practically watched all of the free videos on LinkedIn already. I came across this webinar organized by CCP, and a good friend of mine was there. JK Anicoche is one of the speakers. And I decided, okay, I want to watch this webinar. Maybe I can learn something from it. The topic is all about the future of performers and performances. That's actually what I wanted, and that's actually what I needed, because I don't know how to create a performance during this pandemic. I don't know what to do. Maybe they have something that I don't know. That's why I attended. So in that webinar, aside from supporting my friend, who actually is the artistic director of Virgin Lapis last year, I also listened to the presentation done by Casey Montero. Casey Montero is the VP for marketing of KUMU, and he kept on promoting the app. Every time I ask questions, what's with KUMU? How can I make money there? How long has it been? It's always about, it's a good platform, another source of income. So, okay, I thought to myself, okay, I won't lose anything. It's for free. So basically, I downloaded it. At that time, I really wanted to do a performance art. It's called the 12-hour Q&A. Actually, it's supposed to be the 24-hour Q&A. But I just for the sake of KUMU and doing a digital an online performance, I reduced the hours to 12 hours. It's an endurance performance where I will just sit here for 12 straight hours and I will allow people to ask me questions, pageant questions, because I am a pageant coach. And I really wanted to do it pre-pandemic, but renting a space is expensive. But then when I discovered that, okay, maybe I can try it out on KUMU, I did that and I somehow made it work. So that's the first thing that I love about KUMU. I'm able to realize my dream performances there without the cost because it's free. And when I was there, I also met several people. As you can see, that's a 9-slot format in KUMU where you can have 8 other streamers with you, while other people will just be commenting. So we call it in KUMU, it's called taas or umakyat ka if you're a part of the 9 slots. Uy, akyat ka dito sa 9 slots. But if they don't want to go up, okay, sige, stay ka lang dyan sa baba. Baba means if you're not up in the live stream and you're just simply chatting. So in that type of format, not only was I able to build connections with a lot of people based in the Philippines as well as OFWs, I'm also able to learn from other people as well, asking them about how's life in the Middle East during pandemic, what are the opportunities that are available for artists, let's say in Europe. So I was able to meet a lot of people and they were able to give me a lot of information. So that in itself is already rewarding for me because I'm learning from other people. After a month, I've decided that maybe it's time for me to really go after that featured status. Just like in Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, in KUMU, you have a blue check, or that's a verified account or a featured badge. So if you have that, it means that you are a quality content creator. And it also means that you're gonna be, you're practically recognized by KUMU as someone who is doing well. So I've decided to join a campaign at the beginning. It's NFC, or the non-featured campaign. It's meant for people who doesn't have a blue check yet, but it just like the name itself, it's a campaign. It's like more of a voting system where people need to send you virtual gifts. Those virtual gifts are practically how you earn money from KUMU, and at the same time, it can also be like a marketing or a strategic plan for you if you want to be recognized in the platform. Next slide, please. Okay, so when it was decided, I really want to get that blue check, I created a lot of content. While I was campaigning, my main content is all about introspection. So it's more about, talking about the things that I've realized, talking to people about their dreams and their hopes and what they're going through. So as I mentioned before, I am an EQ-based trainer. So I talk to people. I do my best to understand what they're going through during this pandemic. So after several days, when it came to the final day of the campaign, so parang ano lang to, this is the day before the election, no? I've organized this concert. It's called Thank You Community, where I've invited a lot of my friends and some people that I've known in KUMU. So just like in an election, campaigns is all about, do people like you enough? Do is there a number of people who like you enough for you to win that campaign? So election na election talaga siya. So in this case, this is when I started to feel the pressure. Because if you want to be recognized, if you want to have a blue check, aside from your content, people should watch you. People should be interested. So this is the time when I invited my close friends. Some of them are beauty queens, professional singers and actors. And this is the first time that people actually recognize me because I've invited a good friend of mine whom I trained in Binibining Pilipinas. That's Gazini Ganados. She's our Miss Universe Philippines 2019. So when she went to KUMU, people actually went wild and they went to my stream. They don't even know me. They just went there because of Gazini. So that's when it all started. However, just like, a typical story, I did not get my blue check. I did not have enough votes to get that. So Vibe decided, okay, now that I'm already doing this and I'm putting a lot of effort already, might as well create consistent content. Because aside from campaigning, another way to get that featured badge is for you to create quality content consistently. So that is my program from last year. 6 out of 7 days, I am streaming on KUMU at around 6 p.m. or 5 p.m. because I really want to establish myself as someone who should get that blue check. Next slide, please. In the process, I also discovered this competition. It's called Kumu Arte, done by Nieto. And I thought to myself, okay, sis, I want to be known. I want to be seen by people. I will join competitions. So Kumu Arte is one of the competitions that I competed in. And during that time, I thought to myself, okay, this is also a good way for me to showcase my talent. Because once upon a time, I was acting on stage. So why not create performances in the digital platform? I was also inspired by my friend, Olivia Nieto, who will be speaking later. So I decided that, okay, I want to do this. Sige, I created performances. Those 4 posters on the left are the 4 performances that I have done for me to get to the grand finals. But then again, since it's KUMU, it's all about votes again. And at the time, I did not have enough support and enough friends who will send virtual gifts for me to win. So I only made it to the finals, but I did not win the competition. But that ignited a fire in me because I thought to myself, okay, pera-pera pala dito, virtual gifts pala dito. So paano ang gagawin ko ngayon? Pero wait, di ba in real life it's also like that? What's the point if you don't have, viewers? What's the point if you don't have supporters? What's the point if you cannot market yourself effectively? So I took it as a challenge. So I said to myself, all right, I may not win, but I'm gonna continue this. So that's when I decided to create that Dulaang Kumu. Dulaang Kumu is a content that I had where I am doing stage readings. And at that specific content that you can see, I'm the one directing, and I got 2 of my fellow grand finalists in the competition to act for my content. All right, next slide, please. So in the process, as I mentioned, I did KUMU because I wanted to create performances. But when I was in theater, aside from acting or performing, I am more of a backstage person. I am a stage manager. I was a production manager. So when I saw people doing concerts, I thought to myself, okay, this is also a good way for me to practice what I know. I did one before in my non-featured campaign. It was chaotic at that time. I have to tell you, your first concert will always be chaotic. But then after that, I learned how to run the entire show. Unlike in theater, or unlike in a formal setting, you have a team. Everything that you're seeing right now are concerts that I have done, and I'm the host and I am the stage manager. I am practically everything. I'm a one-man team. So I've invited all of those performers. I created the program, made sure that the flow is good. And at the same time, I was also asking for virtual gifts as well. Virtual gifts, the good thing about them is that it's your virtual version of an applause. But of course, that applause can eventually be converted into cash. So I created a regular month concert, a monthly concert. I also created a charity concert, that one, the birthday of my sister, and where everything that we received from that event, we donated to the Kai Foundation. Towards the last part of the year, I also created JP Can Talks, the best of KUMU, because at that time I was already rubbing elbows with some of KUMU's top streamers and celebrities. So I've basically created a new event where all of them can perform. And I use that to also propel myself in another campaign, a campaign that I really wanted to win. So because of these types of events, I was also able to establish myself as someone who chooses to create quality content, because my performers are typically the best of the best in the app. Can you just imagine having that title, the best of KUMU 2020? So, and guess what? I've guested Seth Drillon, and I've guested the head of the community, James Rumor, in that program. So for some reason, I kind of feel like I have that blessing from them. Right, next slide, please. Okay, so these 2 moments right here is like some of the greatest moments that I have in Kumu. I never thought ever in my life that I would be interviewed by Boy Abunda in Sesdrelon. This happened because I joined a campaign, and practically the winners will get an opportunity to be interviewed by these icons. And I can only dream of being in the studio with Tito Boy, but then this is a moment where I was interviewed by him. I was with celebrities as well, and I'm not there because I'm applying for anything, but I am there because I am like the representative of the community in that specific content. So I made sure that I'm myself, and I did the best thing that I can. I talk. That's why my name is JV Can Talk, because that's my thing. In Kumu, you can see a lot of singers. You will see a lot of artists, someone doing visual art, someone dancing. And then there are people like me who just talks. I talk about anything under the sun. I create talk shows as well. So those are the things that I do. So this is definitely one of the highlights of my Kumu experience. Next slide, please. Yeah, as I mentioned, I have talk shows, and these are the online shows or online content that I've created. One of my most viewed content is that how to audition, because as a theater performer, I know how it feels like to audition, and during that time, PBB was holding their online audition. So I am actually the first one who created that type of content, because everyone was panicking that PBB is in Kumu. I had to think fast. So I created a poster. I created my live stream. It was a solo live stream. And then we were peaking at around 230 viewers. In Kumu, by the way, having 20 viewers is already good. Having 11 or 12 is typical. Again, because this is live streaming, people can come and go. But at the peak of that how to audition stream, I have around 240 live people watching me all at the same time. Of course, people may come and go. But that also earned me my very first gadget from Kumu, because I practically earned 7,000 pesos in just around 2 hours, just by creating a content about tips on how to audition. How can you introduce yourself? How do you do your elevator pitch? So that's the content. So that's for 2 hours, 7,000. Yeah, you can really make money in Kumu. And then aside from that, I went back to my roots. Again, I love beauty queens. It's my thing. So I've created that content. Kwentuhan, Kumu Kwentuhan, with whoever beauty queen I will invite. The first one I've invited, of course, is my friend, Gazini. Eventually, I've interviewed other beauty queens as well. And then I also collaborated with some of Kumu's influencers. Like in this case, this is TaxWiz PH. And then I had my former boss, who is a sales director in Ayala Land. We've created that money, savings, and investments, because it's the new year, and that's the typical topic every new year. How can you save for the year? So I created that. And then I've tied up with some of my closest friends. The next one is with Uleb, Eman, and of course, a good friend of mine, Mark Goshen of Ampalaya Monologues. We have this program called The Chat, where we talk about shows and movies, and we share our thoughts about it, because di ba ganun naman talaga, sometimes when we watch something that we love, we want like a post-production or a post-show discussion. Just like when you're watching a play in CCP, after you watch a play, you go to Harbor Square in Starbucks, or you have dinner somewhere, and then you talk about the program. So that's the point of the chat. We just talk about whatever show we just watched. In that poster, we talked about WandaVision. Okay, next slide, please. So after creating several content in Kumu, eventually I got my blue check. I got my blue check from the head of the community himself, from Mr. James Rumor. After a month or two, I got my bronze badge. Bronze is practically the highest possible status of a streamer in Kumu at the moment. Okay, at the moment, that's the highest possible one. So when you go to Kumu, when you look at the explore page, Aside from the typical channels that you have in Kumu, like FYE channel, Mix, and their Spotlight channel and all of that, you will have the bronze badge at the top of the Explore page. So practically, it's easier for people to see you now. Well, at least it's easier for people to see me now because of my status. And I was recognized as well by around December. I was nominated by a lot of Kumu streamers to be a part of the host of the year category in the very first Kumu live streaming awards. And of course, as a streamer, I love that. It's wala pa akong 1 year in Kumu, and then people nominated me already. They appreciated my content. As you can see, yeah, there's a lot of posters that I have there. And it's also like a validation from the community that they're watching you. They appreciate you. Considering that I'm not artista, I'm not a model, I am not a singer. So practically, even if you are just like me, a typical aspiring artist who wants to talk about stuff, who experiments in content, having that type of background and then being nominated for their live streaming awards is also an affirmation for me that, okay, I can make it here. And, you know, my creative output is not being dismissed. So if you are a creative person, Kumu can also be your preferred place to play and practice. In my mind, it is my own safe space. I can talk to people, and of course, I can just put out whatever I want to put out in the world. And if it works, I can feel good and perhaps I can make money. But if it doesn't work, Eddie, another day. Just like in theater, sometimes you can put up productions, it may be a hit, it might not be a hit, but the point is that you learn from it. So another persona in Kumu that I have, aside from being nominated, is that I am doing a lot of talk shows now. I have a program called Off Stream, and this is in the Team Ampalaya Monologues channel. So here I talk to Kumu's top streamers. So I'm trying to peg myself as like the boy abunda of some sort, or some sort like in Kumu, because in your own live stream, typically you just talk about what you like to talk about. You just, you know, do what you want to do. But in this format, I am giving these streamers an opportunity to be vulnerable, to let them open more to their supporters in order for them to get more fans, perhaps, and also for their supporters and viewers to have a better insight of their favorite streamer. Kumu is all about engagement. I said that before. And it's all about authenticity. And if you're willing to be vulnerable and to show yourself and to be creative as well, then you will succeed. You can have viewers, you can have followers, and you can even make money. So coming from that mindset, that's when I decided, okay, I want to do talk shows because I feel like I can ask the right questions and I can position my guests in the best way possible. And it's not only helping them, it's also helping me as well. Because of course, in Kumu, you can actually share those virtual gifts. And, you know, it's not just me earning money. I can also share it with my guests. But of course, most of my guests are celebrities. They don't really need that. But guess what? They are the most affected people during this pandemic. That's why a lot of singers, a lot of actors are now in Kumu. It is actually their stream of income as well. And the last one is that I created my own singing competition. Okay, so let's talk about events. I've already created a concert. I've established myself as a credible host. So I think it was a time for me to do a singing competition. I may not be a singer, but I know what good singing sounds like. So I created the one. It is an ongoing competition that I have right now. I'm on season 2. Semifinals will be this coming weekend. And the reason why I did that is because I wanted to experiment, I wanted to explore, and I also wanted to see how do streamers make money in Kumu. Ako, I make money kasi from my own content. I do campaigns, I ask for virtual gifts. But what if I do a content like a competition? Can it give me money? Can I make money out of it? The answer is yes. Yes, definitely. Since in competitions, when you are doing the criteria, of course, my competition, I want to make sure that whoever will win deserves it. But aside from that, when you see competitions, di ba, meron tayo laging audience impact. The audience impact in KUMU practically is what? The virtual gifts. And that's actually what I can convert into cash. So by doing this competition, I wanted to make sure, okay, how can I create another stream of income for me, but how can I make it worth it for the viewers and the contestants? So as the host, I made sure that I can set myself apart from the rest by providing training or at least coaching offline outside KUMU. We talk in Messenger, how I could give them tips on how they can have a better background, how can they be better singers, how can they have a better image, taking good photos and all of that. So at least in that way, they wouldn't feel bad if their supporters will send virtual gifts. Kasi at the same time, aside from supporting in the competition, it is also some sort of, you know, parang honorarium in a way for me. But then again, I still do that because that's where I also generate the cash prize. Like in the one, that's a singing competition and our grand prize for that is 10,000 pesos plus, you know, mga constellation, 5,000, 2,500, and so on and so forth. So by doing these things, you know, talk shows, experimental content, concerts, and competitions, I think I was able to establish myself as a good content creator in KUMU. To the point that I asked my friend to create two Carlito emojis for me, or Carlitoons. So these are they. Ayan, ito sila. My two Carlitoons. One is me, this is my typical self with the crown, and then the other one is for the one. So this is done by an artist in KUMU called Bogsy, and he creates Carlitoons. So as I mentioned, diba, KUMU has visual artists as well. So I've had several events where illustrators drew my portrait, and I paid them, of course, because that's how you support artists. So basically, KUMU is an amazing way where you can collaborate with different creatives, create different types of content as well. All right, next slide, please. So again, why do I KUMU? Number one, it's a creative outlet. So what I love about it, it's a free performance space. If you are a student, if you are a theater practitioner, you can practice and perhaps earn money while doing it. You don't have to rent anything. Actually, it's the people who will pay you nga pa nga, because you know, when you're creating content like that one, I created a article Canta with a professional singer, Rachel Gabreza, where we will ask the viewers, meron ba kayong request na songs? Rachel will sing it, and then I will do a dramatic reading of the text. So, depende na lang sa kung anong challenge. May nag-challenge sa akin, Rachel needed to sing Jumbo Hotdog. I needed to do a dramatic reading of Jumbo Hotdog, you know, for fun lang. And also, Spaghetti Pababa. And even Chala Head Chala. If you watch Dragon Ball, that's the song there. We did that as well. So, another way is also earn extra income. My personal experience, I am making at least 10,000 pesos in KUMU monthly. It can go as high as 120. Some even make 1 million a month. Yes, you heard that right. 1 million pesos cash a month. It depends on your content. So I think that's not bad. Kahit hindi nga tayo umabot ng 1 million, kahit nandun lang tayo sa 10,000, that's still good money during this pandemic, while, you know, sitting at the comforts of your own home, and also just being yourself. You just have to be creative in what type of content you will put out. And lastly, of course, to meet new people. As an extrovert, I cannot not talk to people. So in KUMU, I always talk to people. When I'm sad, when I'm bored, I go there. I watch other people's live stream. I connect with people, and guess what? You have better chances of meeting people that you won't even meet in real life in KUMU. Like I've met CEOs, I've met artistas like the ones that you can see. That's Cassie Ligaspi, Tia Tomala, and Kakay Bautista, all actors of in GMA's First Yaya. They were in my live stream. So yeah, those are the three things that keeps me doing Kumu. So how can you earn money in Kumu? All you have to do is just create content. And if ever you go there, don't worry, I'll guide you. So you're always welcome in all of my live streams. So that will be it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, JV Ken Talk, for that detailed overview of Kumu, and of course, sharing with us your wonderful journey in getting that blue and then bronze check, a bronze badge, no, blue check and then a bronze badge.
Yes.
Okay.
Bronze badge.
I'm sure a lot of our audiences, our students also have questions no, later, but we'll reserve that for the Q&A portion of this webinar series. Okay, so we'll see you later.
Okay.
All right. So now let's go to our second speaker. She is an assistant professor at the UP Diliman Department of Speech Communication and Theater Arts. She is a performer and dramaturg. And her areas of interest include acting for the stage, film and television, embodied narrative dramaturgy in performance, performance in digital platforms, and theater and events management. Please welcome Ms. Olivia Kristine D. Nieto.
Hi, Eric.
Hello, Olive. It's really wonderful to have you here with us.
Yeah.
Thank you for making time.
Salamat din. Nagkabaliktad naman. Dati sa UP kayo yung ini-invite namin, Eric. Kaya crossover na rin kami mga taga-UP sa CSB. Thank you for the invitation.
Yes, I mean it's about time, no? Last time we had Missy Maramara of Ateneo also joining us in this Benilde Theater series. Okay, so we are very excited on what you want to share. I believe you have a presentation, so I hand it over to you. Take it away.
Thank So Meryl will be assisting me in my slides. So hi, I'm Olive Nieto. Maraming salamat kay JV. Di ko na kailangan i-introduce ko ano ang KUMU. At least you have an idea kung paano tumatakbo yung application. So I'm Olive Nieto. Para lang din alam niyo yung context, kumbaga yung pinanggagalingan ko, why I'm doing KUMU. So I'm a teacher, I'm an assistant professor at UP Diliman. Tapos ako rin po ay performance maker. So nung lockdown na tayo last year, ang una kong problema as the program advisor ng mga estudyante sa UP sa theater program, hindi namin alam kung paano gagawa ng online performances at kung paano ito ay tuturo sa university. So dahil performer ako, teacher ako, sabi ko walang ibang way para mag-research kung paano ito gawin kung hindi makipag-collaborate. So nakipag-collaborate ako sa maraming artists at sa maraming researchers for 1 year hanggang ngayon para lang mabuo itong buong presentation ko sa inyo. So basically, ang pag-uusapan lang dito ay yung monovlog. I-discuss ko mamaya ano ba tong monovlog at ano yung journey niya from Facebook Live hanggang sa KUMU. At paano pa rin siya nare-reshape ng form depende kung saang platform mo siya nilalagay at kung paano rin siya na-shape ng academia. So ibig sabihin may research component, may university component. So yes, so this is my picture. This is one of my characters in KUMU. So this is Madam Cheddar. So si Madam Cheddar ay ginaya niya si Hamlet. So ang kasama niya dito yung bungo sa original na Shakespeare text. Ito ay bungo ni Yorick. Pero dito sa aking photo, ito si Alejandro. So si Alejandro ang aking assistant sa KUMU. Syempre yung headdress ko, gusto ko lang magpasalamat kay John Carlo Pagunaling kasi siya yung laging tumutulong sa akin sa costume sa KUMU. So there you go, that's Madam Cheddar. Next slide please. So what is the monovlog? So the monovlog is a cross between the monologue and the video log or vlog. So alam nyo naman yung tono ng vlog, di ba? Alam nyo rin yung monologue pagdating sa theater. So parang, hey guys! Ganun yung pinanggagalingan niya. Yung text, ang gumagawa niyan ay si playwright na si Layeta P. Bukoy. Tapos ako naman yung performer nung monovlog. So it uses both text and improvisation by vlogging a monologue or delivering a monologue in vlogging format. So ang main platform namin noon ay Facebook Live because dahil nga nagkaroon ng Metro Manila lockdown noon, ng March 2020, kami ang isa sa mga unang artists na gumawa ng online performances. At ang nakita naming siguro marami kasing Pilipino dahil nga may Facebook na free Facebook. Naisip namin ni Layeta, oo nga, sa Facebook Live natin gawin. At actually, siya yung pinakamadali. Hindi ako marunong mag-Facebook Live nung ginawa ko to, nung ginawa namin yung monovlog. Ano ba yung monovlog? Ang monovlog ay iba-iba yung topic niya. So, di ba pag nakakapanood kayo ng news, iba-iba yung pinag-uusapan, depende sa nangyayari sa paligid mo. Ganon din yung monovlog. So, every night, kami ni Layeta ay nag-uusap, tapos sinusulat niya yung text. Pagkabigay niya sa akin ng text, ay nagdadagdag ako ng content doon. So may mga improv. So nangyayari, yung form na monovlog ay hindi namin siya actually ma-define na fixed lang siya. Kasi minsan, proof of life siya, COVID-19 health advisory. It's a private conversation, yung mga experiences natin sa Zoom pag chumichika tayo with our friends and family members. A tribute to frontliners, a testimony, a death folder, a shout-out video of advocacy groups, a set of community-led responses to the pandemic, and the hashtag protest from home movement. So, syempre, may political side din siya. Parang it's a satire, it's a parody of everything. So, parang hanggang ngayon kami rin parang sabi namin, saan ba papunta ang monovlog? Ito ay base pa rin sa experiences ng communities sa panahon ng pandemya, kung saan nakakaapekto rin ang response ng national government. As of December 2020, nakagawa na kami ni Layeta ng 14 monovlogs. So ito ay all original content at 2 diavlogs. Yung diavlog naman ay may kasama na akong ka-eksena doon sa aming monovlog. So yes, next slide please. Para lang makita ninyo yung difference, kasi kanina diniscuss ni JV yung KUMU, balikan ko lang yung sa Facebook, yung interface niya. So para alam niyo kung paano yung audience engagement. So syempre, ang branding namin sa monovlog, na naging brand na lang siya later on talaga, aksidente lang to eh. Wala akong damit doon sa place na kung saan ako na lockdown. So di ba biglaan yung pag-announce ng lockdown? So wala ako doon sa bahay ko. Nakitira ako sa bahay ng friend ko at ng kapatid ko. So what I had were limited clothes. So ginawa namin na ang branding ng monovlog na lang ay pambahay siya talaga. So meron akong tuwalya sa likod na mukhang sa ulo. Tapos meron akong sunglasses dahil yan yung trademark ko naman sa UP pag nagtuturo ako. Tapos sa pambahay clothes ako. So ito yung tinatawag naming pambahay aesthetics. 'Di ba? Your background, improvise siya. And nung una ako lang mag-isa yung gumagawa nito, then later on, yung kapatid ko tsaka yung housemates niya, tinutulungan na ako mag-set up. So kumbaga sila yung naging team ko versus doon sa theater na may team ka talagang expert doon sa iba't ibang field. Yun nga, parang yung sala nila tinatransform ko sa aking performance space. And medyo hindi ko pa kasi gets before kung ano ibig sabihin ng engagement sa Facebook. Pero natutunan ko na lang siya sa kakagawa ko ng monovlog. So sa Facebook, merong kang likes, di ba? Yung mga emojis dyan. Then you have comments. So doon ako nakikipag-usap sa mga tao. So tuwing may nagla-like, tuwing may nagko-comment, naiiba pa yung content. So from Layeta na text, pupunta sa akin na may improvisation pa ako, naiiba ulit yung form. Tapos, papasok yung pangatlong factor, yun yung audience. So, sila rin, kasama namin sila sa performance making. Nire-reshape nila yung performance. So, yon. And ang maganda sa Facebook ay may recording kami ng lahat. Kasi di ba pagka-end mo ng Facebook Live, kumbaga hindi lang siya performance space, yung digital platform, nagiging archive siya, nagiging repository siya ng mga performances mo. So, sinuwerte kami doon ni Layeta kasi wala na kaming problema sa archiving. So, hanggang ngayon, nakapreserve yun sa aking Facebook, tapos kaya siyang i-download. Next slide, please. Para lang din alam niyo kasi 'di ba parang ang labanan kasi sa Facebook or sa kahit anong social media sites ay yung tinatawag na viral videos. 'Di ba ang hirap-hirap maging viral? Lalo na ang content namin, kasi yung mga content like if you have TikTok, ang content mo diyan parang ilang seconds lang, less than a minute, madali na siya kasi kumbaga mas mabilis siya mapanood. Ang monovlog ay 5 to 20 minutes tumatagal. So mahaba ang monovlog. So kami, sabi namin ni Layeta, parang mahirap yata, parang i-achieve yung pagka-viral. Ang na-discover namin ngayon, after 1 year, may bagong definition pala ng viral for us. Ang nagulat kami, in-adopt ng Tanghalang Pilipino sa Cultural Center of the Philippines yung form na monovlog. So pag nakita niyo yung pansamantanghalan ng Tanghalang Pilipino, may dalawa silang nilabas na monovlog na tinatawag. Isa doon si Lolo Doc, tapos si Lola Doc. At dito kami nag-viral. Si Lola Doc ay ginawa mismo ng ating superstar na si Nora Honor. So kumbaga, doon din nakilala, mayroon palang monovlog na form. So, kumbaga, ito yung definition din namin ng pagka-viral. Nagamit yung mismong form. It's not about the sharing, kung ilang beses siya shinare ng maraming tao, pero kung sino yung mga gumamit. So it's an institution, it's a theater institution. So doon pa lang, flattered na kami. Ang pangalawang nakasama namin sa collaboration sa pag-aaral ng monovlog is the Sining Banwa Community Theater. Ang bongga nito kasi kakilala namin si Sari Saysay, playwright siya from the Virgin Lab Fest. Tapos kinontak niya si Layeta. Sabi niya, napanood namin yung ginagawa ni Olive sa Facebook Live. Baka pwede naming i-translate in the Bicol language yung lahat ng monovlogs niyo. So, Facebook Live ako sa gabi. Kinabukasan, translated na into Bicol language. Ang magandang na-contribute naman nila sa monovlog ng Sining Banwa Community Theater ay iba-iba yung actors na gumaganap bawat gabi sa bawat monovlog na pinipresent. Kaya mabilis sila eh. At one point, naunahan na nila kami. Doon sila nagkaroon din ng inspiration na baka pwedeng gumawa na rin tayo ng sarili natin. Kasi alam na natin yung form, baka pwedeng isulat na natin or i-edit natin yung mga monovlogs nila Olive na nagre-reflect sa experiences natin dito sa Bicol. So ang dami nilang nagawang monovlogs sa Bicol nung time na yon. So ang maganda doon, nakakausap namin si Tata Nanding, si Nanding Joseph, ang artistic director ng Tanghalang Pilipino, at si Sari Saysay ng Sining Banwa para makapagpalitan kami. Paano pa ma-reshape yung form? So doon pa lang, natutuwa na kami na parang meron kaming kumbaga angkla sa online performance na pwede pala tong gawin ng mga taga-theater. Tapos, na-invite din kami sa Virgin Lab Fest para ma-share yung experiences namin sa pagbuo ng mga monovlog sa iba't ibang institution. So, ayun. Next slide, please. And then, sinabi sa akin ni Layeta, let's try KUMU. Wala akong kaalam-alam sa KUMU nun. So sabi ko, ang hirap nito kasi meron ng pinag-uusapan na pera. Kumbaga, kailangan mo nang kumita sa KUMU or at least isa na siyang space na pwede kang kumita. Which is napakahirap na concept for me as a theater actor. Kasi di ba pag kunwari papasok ka sa theater, bayad na ng audience yung ticket mo. Dito, parang kailangan ma-please mo yung audience kasi pay what you can ang usapin sa KUMU. Kung nagustuhan nila yung performance mo, doon sila magbabagsak ng kanilang bayad. Bakit hindi ako nagkukumu before? Para din alam ninyo ang malaking problema natin sa pag-aaral ng online performances ay lagi nating iniisip yung accessibility ng performance natin para sa mga audiences. Ang nakakalimutan natin ay yung accessibility ng resources accessibility ng mga resources doon sa mismong mga artists. May gamit ba sila? Nung time na to wala akong wifi, so meron lang ako ay mobile data. Hindi siya kinakaya ng KUMU. Kasi ang KUMU kasi video siya for ilang hours. At kung ako ay magla-live stream ng ilang hours, uubusin niya at magiging mahirap na po ako. 'Di ba? Hindi naman ako mayaman, pero alam mo 'yon, mauubos ang aking savings. Kaya ako rin gusto mag-shift sa KUMU. Sabi ko nga, hindi, isipin ko to as part of the research na pwede kong ibalik sa UP Diliman. Sabi ko, iniisip ko ang aking mga graduating students. Wala pong trabaho sa theater ngayon at sa kahit anong live events. Kung baga, pag nag-graduate po ng theater program, ang mga estudyante ko, ay saan sila pupulutin? Hindi po ba? So sabi ko, might as well aralin ko to para makapagbigay ako ng isang option. Pangalawa, iniisip ko, kung freelance performer pa rin ako, katulad dati, paano kaya ako mabubuhay ngayon? Kasi karamihan ng mga kakilala kong kaibigan ko na freelance performers ay nag-shift to other fields. Mas kumuha sila ng mas stable na job sa panahon ng pandemya kasi nga nawala yung live events. And nakakatakot na mag-shoot outside your home kasi nga ang nire-risk mo ay buhay mo. Nakikita ko rin kasi ang drag queens ng O-Bar sa Facebook Live. Tapos laging GCash yung ginagamit nila. Tapos sinabi ko, ang gagaling ng mga drag queens natin, pero ano pa kaya yung ibang platforms na pwedeng gamitin? So doon ko rin naisip yung KUMU. At siguro yun din, parang later on, parang ngayon ko siya naiisip, katulad ng sinabi ni JV, baka pwede rin siyang maging source ko ng aking extra income. So yun. Next slide please. Sabi ko, paano kaya mag-KUMU? Totoo po yung sinabi ni JV. Pag sinabi niyang tutulungan niya kayo kung paano mag-KUMU, tuturuan niya talaga kayo. So si JV po ang aking unang tinawagan. So si JV po ay kaibigan ko na matagal na from the Virgin Love Fest. Siya rin po ang aming stage manager noon. So sabi ko, JV, ikaw ang may alam nito. So may sarili kaming session before, tinuruan niya ako kung ano ang KUMU. How is it different from other social media sites? Tapos sinabi niya, alam mo, the best way to do it is to go live stream. So nag-live stream kami ni JV, in-introduce niya ako dito sa mga taong ito. Doon ko nakita yung community ng KUMU na hindi ka talaga pwedeng mabuhay mag-isa sa KUMU. You need people, you need communities. At ang best way na na-introduce namin ang monovlog sa KUMU ay through JV's channel. So dahil marami siyang audiences yun, nakikita nyo dyan, may 18 audiences si JV na nanonood. Translate namin, kasi may English monovlog kami ni Layeta na present namin sa Australia. So translate namin into Filipino, tapos in-adjust namin para sa persona ni JV sa KUMU. So we did monovlog 14A sa KUMU. Tapos doon ko naiintindihan kung ano yung mga binabagsak na virtual gifts. So kailangan talaga, sumalang ka talaga sa ganong feeling. It's a totally different experience from Facebook. Kasi usapin ito na nagbabagsak talaga ng kumbaga virtual na pera yung mga tao. Yeah, so next slide please. So this is how the KUMU interface looks like. Napaka-complicated niya. Pero alam nyo, pag tumagal kayo sa KUMU, mas naiintindihan nyo na simple lang pala siya. So just to give you a quick background, so doon sa taas, pinapakita sino yung top gifters mo. So kung sino yung maraming virtual gifts na binabagsak. Ito yung mga verbs na ginagamit sa KUMU, bagsak. Ibig sabihin ng bagsak, parang tinatapon mo yung virtual gift, tapos lumalabas yung photo or yung image, yung animation ng mismong gift doon sa live stream mo, which is totally different from Facebook. Sa Facebook kasi diba lumilipad lang yung hearts. So at the same time, para siyang distraction, nung una ko siyang ginagawa, distraction ito mga nagbabagsak. Next, nakikita mo yung gaano karami ang iyong viewers, magkano na yung kinikita mo, at gaano kahaba ka na nagla-live stream. So maganda rin yon kasi sa KUMU ang quality na streaming ay at least 2 hours. Kaya rin ako nag-experiment sa KUMU kasi nga may iksi yung mga monovlog na ginagawa ko sa Facebook Live. Sabi ko kay JV, parang gusto ko i-try yung stamina ko as a performer sa KUMU. Kasi kahit nagpo-full length play ako dati, lagi ako may kasamang ensemble. First time na gagawin ko na parang one-woman show siya for 2 hours. So sabi ko, kakayanin ko ba? Kakayanin ba ng boses ko? Aabot ba? Tapos dyan sa baba, dyan yung mga lumilitaw na virtual gifts. Tapos makikita nyo rin sa baba, this is a solo stream. So pwede mag-request yung mga nasa chat na umakyat na walang ganitong feature ang Facebook. So si Eric nun, yun yung another verb, umakyat. Umakyat siya dito sa gilid ko. Siya yung naging co-moderator ko. So magkausap kami. Pero ang focus pa rin ng stream ay ako. Tapos nagko-co-host lang si Eric. So we can talk about different topics kung gusto namin. So maganda sa KUMU, na-reshape nila yung monovlog because pag nagla-live stream ako, may mga umaakyat na ganito or may mga nagcha-chat. Tapos may mga ideas sila na gustong idagdag sa performance. So ako, nakikipag-collaborate ako with them. Nakikipag-improve ako ng live. So grabe yung talon ng skills ko from theater to a live streamer. Next slide please. Ayan, so lagi ako naka-solo stream. Kung si JV ay extrovert, ako ay introvert. So ako ay nahihiya ako actually mag-live stream. So I always do solo live streams. Ito yung mga sample ng mga contents na ginagawa ko. So I started in KUMU this December lang. So 4 months pa lang ako sa KUMU, napakabata pa nun. Gumagawa ako ng pambahay masterclass because ako po ay scholar ng masterclass.com. So teacher ko po sila Natalie Portman, Helen Miren. And napaalam ko rin naman ito sa Kaisipan PH. Sila po yung nagpa-scholar sa akin. So nire-review ko yung bawat masterclass. Tapos ginagawa ko siyang local context. Paano siya magagamit pag kunwari nandito ka sa Pilipinas. So yan po, pambahay masterclass. Kaya siya pambahay masterclass kasi ang likod niyan ay yung kitchen ko. Meron din akong improv nung Valentine's Day. Tapos itong pangatlong photo, ito yung favorite na character sa KUMU, si Mana ng Gal Gadot. Hindi ko alam, so I'm so fond of manananggals. Naisip ko lang si Gal Gadot na Wonder Woman. So iniiba ko yung image ng manananggal na aswang siyang kumakain ng tao. Dito ay teacher siya, very pleasant. So yan yung favorite nilang character, si Mana ng Gal Gadot. Isa pang content ko is TV or Not TV. So this is a tambay stream, may ganun tinatawag. So tambay is chikahan. Nakikipagchikahan ka sa mga tao, pero ang background ko pa rin ay bilang teacher. So kunwari ang nire-review kong mga movies kunwari ay Jurassic Park, yung mismong series, yung iba't ibang sequel nun. So from Jurassic Park 1, sunod-sunod. Tapos ginawa ko siyang isang theme. Tapos I talked about dinosaur acting. Paano umaarte ang mga dinosaur. So nire-relate ko pa rin sa aking theater background. So yan yung mga favorite nilang content sa KUMU. Siguro para mas maintindihan ninyo ano meron sa solo streaming, think of busking. Alam niyo yung pag nasa malls, di ba, or nasa street, tapos may mga nagpo-perform, nagigitara, nagma-magic, nagjo-juggle on the streets, tapos may idadrop ka lang na cash just to support the artist. Ganon din sa KUMU. Yun yung idea ng live streaming niya. Napakahirap ng solo streaming kasi for you to look good like this, di ba gagawa ka ng poster mong sarili, lahat ako na gumawa, na never ko ginagawa sa Facebook Live before. So I do my own posters, tapos kailangan kong i-set up yung sarili ko. It would take me like 30 minutes just to set up my ring light. So yan din, parang yung accessibility ng resources sa artist, kailangan may ring light ka or at least may proper source of lighting ka. Tapos meron kang magandang audio. At nagpapasalamat po ako kasi ang daming tumulong sa akin. Bukod doon sa mga nabili ko ng gamit, isa ako sa mga naging recipients ni Josh Cabiladas at ni Chris Villonco. Binigyan nila ako ng live streaming kit. Kasi dahil teacher ako at inaaral ko ang KUMU bilang research for UP Diliman, binigyan nila ako ng live streaming kit. So meron na akong V8 sound card, may additional ring light na ako, lahat ng kasosyalan, pati microphones. Yon. So yun yung maganda kasi may ganong support from other communities kasi naiintindihan nila yung need mo at yung background mo sa research. So next slide please. Yes, ito laging theme namin sa KUMU. Lahat ng communities na sinalihan ko, may tinatawag kaming no to putyo-putyo content. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Yes, parang I think may iba't ibang market naman tayo sa KUMU pag nagla-livestream tayo. Iba't ibang trip, walang basagan na trip. Pero kaming magkakaibigan sa KUMU, ang lagi naming sinasabi ay i-challenge namin ang isa't isa na hindi kami gagaya ng mga simpleng content. Kasi maraming pare-parehong content sa KUMU and it's so hard to stand out. So parang kami mismong magkakaibigan nila JV, nila Mark, nila Emma, nagtutulungan kami na mag-comment sa content ng isa't isa para makasustain kami ng following at para, alam mo yon, makapagbahagi kami ng aming mga natututunan. So kumbaga, hindi masasayang yung pagtambay mo sa stream namin kasi para rin kami nagklase sa KUMU. So yan ang aming idea. No to putyo-putyo content. Yes, next slide please. Ayan, bukod din sa solo streaming, napaka-importante ng co-hosting. So isipin niyo nag-live stream ako ng solo stream ng 3 beses sa isang linggo. Pero laging may tatawag sa'yo na kaibigan para mag-co-host within the week din. So kumbaga parang araw-araw ako halos nagsistream noon. So like ito si Maki, si Eman, si JS at si Direk Goody. I-invite ka. So magbibigay ka ng additional 3 hours of your time para sa mga ganitong content. Kasi it's also good publicity for you para lumaki yung following mo sa KUMU. Pangalawa, maganda rin yung experience niya of co-hosting kasi ito talaga marami kayong slots tapos nakikita ka mismo ng audience. Tapos natitest din kung paano ko ginagawa yung monovlog. So dito ko natitest na sa audience kunwari nung nag-guest sa akin, kunwari kay Maki, type pala nila yung ganong content ko. So kumbaga bukod sa exposure siya for me, natitest ko rin na may market din pala ako sa ganitong streamer. So may ganun akong data ngayon na malakas ako kay ganito, malakas ako sa ganitong channel. So automatic na-follow ka rin ng mga tao. Yes, next slide please. Napaka-importante rin, I think ito yung hindi nyo ever malalaman on your own when you're doing KUMU. Nalaman ko lang to through JV and yung friends ng friends ni JV. You need a family. Really, it's a need. You need a family in KUMU. And sinwerte lang ako na inampon ako ng Euphoria family. Kasi sabi ko, hindi ko naintindihan what's happening. Ang Euphoria family ay group of so many people, many streamers in KUMU na tutulong sa'yo. Kailangan nyo tandaan, nakakapagod mag-KUMU because yung live streaming pa lang, yung stamina pa lang, tinetest, nagkakasakit ka, ganyan. So, etong family, yung parang care mo or support mo sa KUMU. So, pwede rin silang tumulong sa content. Sila rin yung tutulong sa'yo para mas dumami yung events mo sa KUMU. And next slide, please. Mamaya siguro malalaman ninyo bakit importante pa ang family dito sa particular na event sa KUMU. Pero siguro para rin i-end ko lang yung segment lang na ito, papakita ko lang sa inyo anong unique sa ginagawa ko sa KUMU. So, ako po ay nagmo-multiple setup dahil ako ay galing sa theater. So, train po ako sa maraming set changes. Pangalawa, ako ay nagko-quick change. So, yun yung mga ni-retain kong brand, kumbaga, ng theater at ng monovlog. Para maintindihan ng KUMU na ako ay kakaibang artist. Ako ay theater artist na pumapasok sa KUMU. So, ito po ay sample ng mga spaces na ginagamit ko sa bahay. So, please play the video, Meryl. Thank you. Yan. So, multiple setup. Next slide, please. Yeah, bakit importante yung unique content na yon, yung multiple setup and quick changes and creating your own character sa KUMU. Ang point nito ay, sabi ko nga kay JV, na-inspire lang ako kay Eman at malamang si Eman ikukwento rin ito, ay na-inspire ako kay Eman kasi si Eman nakuha niya yung blue check niya through this what we call on the spot or OTS. Paano to? Sabi nga kasi ni JV, alam mo dahil sa Netflix, patay na si Jesus dahil kasama ka doon and with your resume, kaya mo naman makuha yung blue check. Pero sabi niya, kilala kita. Gusto mo siyang i-earn the hard way. And yes, tama si JV. I had to audition to get the blue check, to be a featured KUMU streamer because I want to share that experience with my students na may sarap sa loob na na-earn mo yung blue check mo because you audition, 'di ba? At yun yung proseso kasi ng theater. Para alam nilang tinetest ko pa rin yung skills ko as a teacher and as a performer. So I presented my character, si Manananggal Gadot. So nagkaroon ako ng sample na content. So they gave me like 1.5 minutes to present everything. Tapos sa huli ng lahat may interview. Tapos yung yes, ibig sabihin yes to blue check. So on the spot then, I got my blue check. Automatic niyan, para alam niyo what is a blue check. Wala pong nanonood sa streams ko dati. Si Eman at si JV lang. So it's a big thing for me when I got my blue check kasi ang ibig sabihin nito, mas lalaki yung audience mo, yung sakop. Next slide please. Yes, and hello recorded performances. Pag nagla-livestream ka kasi sa KUMU nang wala kang kahit anong badge or kahit anong check, burado na siya forever. So napaka-ephemeral niya na very theater. Ang maganda po nung nagka-blue check, I was able to get parang copies of the recorded performances. So maganda dito, na-review ko ulit siya. So naging archive ko ang KUMU ng aking mga performances. So ngayon, nasi-save ko na siya sa iisang drive. So yun yung maganda, nababalikan mo at nakokomentan mo para nagiging self-reflexive ka rin as an artist kung paano yung content na ginagawa mo. Next slide please. Ito ay another bigger audience yung nabigay sa akin at malaking pasasalamat ko dito sa aming kaibigan na si Mark. Si Mark Gosen kasi ay nakita rin yung content na ginagawa ko. So it's very theatrical. So in-invite niya ako through JV na sumama sa Team Ampalaya channel. So every Tuesday ng 10 p.m. nagla-livestream ako at create namin yung character na si Madam Chetter. So yan si Madam Chetter, naka-Filipiniana. And this was my latest live stream. So ang taas ng viewers ko, 21, minsan pumapalo yan ng 30. And after your stream kasi may tinatawag kang live stats. So dito makikita mo ang length ng aking performance. Ang required lang sa akin ng Team Ampalaya channel ay 1 hour. Pero nag-extend ako ng 1 hour, 40 minutes. So 40 minutes yung in-extend ko. And total views ko ay 400 at 210,000 likes na never ko nakuha sa Facebook. And then, yung 50,000 diamonds yung nakuha ninyo, pwede na i-convert sa cash yan. So, dyan pa lang, kumita na yung channel. Yes, at dahil kumita ang channel, automatic, kikita rin ako. And masaya ako kasi yung mga kinikita ko na live stream ko, maliliit lang yun eh. Tapos pinangbibili ko rin ng diamonds, pambagsak sa iba. Pero ito na yung additional ko, bukod doon sa solo stream na nakukuha ko. So yes, maliit lang po ang nakukuha pa ng blue check, pero yun nga, pagsisipagan mo siya, ma'am. Okay. Next slide, please. Yes, ano yung creative process ko bilang teacher at bilang performer? So, lagi ako may discussion sa KUMU. Lahat ng tambay na ginagawa ko, lahat ng content na ginagawa ko sa KUMU, nakikipag-usap ako sa tao kung paano siya i-edit, paano siya i-enhance. Kahit sino pa siya, kahit di siya expert ng performance. Tapos pangalawa, nag-experiment ako with collaborators in KUMU. So, ang lagi kong nakaka-collaborate ay si Eman, tsaka si JV. Tapos, binabalik ko siya sa Facebook Live. So, kung may 2-hour performance ako sa KUMU, ang ginagawa ko ay gumagawa ako ng 5 to 10 minute monovlog version sa Facebook. So, may idea sila na, okay. So, yun ay mas pulido, mas refined pag nilagay ko na siya sa Facebook. Next slide, please. Yes, saan pa umabot yung monovlog? Para din alam ninyo, madali kasi ma-burnout sa Kumu. When you're doing this every day, nakakapagod siya. Kakasakit na nga kami lahat eh. Pero yun nga, ang kailangan mo isipin ay, sabi ko nga kay JV, kailangan may bigger picture ka why you want to do this. And ako, ay gusto ko lang mag-experiment and pag nakikipag-usap kasi ako sa international platforms, to international artists, kasama rin kasi ako ngayon sa isang UK na festival. So nagpapalitan kami ng experiences. So ang Kumu ay type na type nila. So ang pinuntahan pa ng monovlog, yung mga nakukuha ko sa Kumu na content, bukod sa nire-refine ko siya sa Facebook, nagiging podcast ko siya. At alam ni Sir Eric nyo to. Ginagawa ko siyang podcast para maging course material siya sa course pack namin sa UP. So very academic. Tapos na-recognize din siya ng UP Diliman as an innovation of UP faculty member. So doon naman ako natuwa na nakikita nila yung efforts ngayon. And lahat ng ginagawa ko sa Kumu, lahat ng ginagawa ko sa Facebook, automatic ginagawan ko siya ng academic paper. So ako po ay nasa 2 conference ngayon sa Singapore. So yung isa ay about educators, tapos yung isa naman ay about sa International Conference on Cultural Studies Society. So doon napupunta ngayon ang aking monovlog. Siguro hindi ko na lang muna ipapakita yung video, Meryl, kasi I think pag may extra time na lang siguro tayo. Pero basically, ang point ng monovlog at ang paggawa ng Kumu ay hindi siya nagsa-stop lang pag nag-livestream ka at nag-end yung livestream mo. So ang pwede mong gawin ay gamitin mo rin siya sa ibang aspeto mo ng buhay. So I think yung Kumu ko ay hindi siya vanity or hindi lang din siya pang extra income, pero ginagawa ko siyang pang knowledge production para makinabang din ang university. Siguro nakakalimutan natin dito when we're talking about theater, lagi natin naisip ay yung performance aspect lang na side. Nakakalimutan natin na may mga theater programs tayo katulad ng sa CSB, sa UP Diliman, di ba, sa Mint College, na kailangan mabalik natin yung mga information na nakukuha natin sa practice, mabalik natin siya sa university. Kung baga ay patuloy po ang kanilang exchange. And yes, sabi daw ni Sir Eric, pwede pa siya. So, here's a sample video of my content in Kumu. So, yung 1 hour 40 minutes ko, kumuha lang ako ng short clip doon. So, ito yung 3 minutes. So, this is Madam Chetter. Si Madam Chetter ay nag-introduce siya ng isang laro sa Kumu. So, improv lang ito. Kung si JV kanina, di ba, minonolog niya yung Jumbo Hotdog. Kasi may game kaming ganyan ni JV eh. Minomonolog namin yung mga songs. Eto, may isang level pa. Pag English song siya, tinatagalog ko siya. Pag Tagalog song siya, ini-English ko siya. So, ganun yung aking monologue. So, ang tawag dito ay monologize and tagalize. Dapat may mga ganyan kang catchphrase sa Kumu. So, this is an example of my live streaming. Ito ay ginawa sa bedroom ko. Ito po ang favorite nilang setup ko. Ang aking theater canopy. Yan po ang tawag ko, theater canopy. So, ang idea ay mukha ka kunaring nasa outdoor space, tapos may canopy ka habang nanonood ng performance or habang nagpa-perform ka. So, this is Madam Chetter. Tapos hulaan nyo na lang kung ano yung song. So, please play, Meryl. Thank you.
Ito ay MT. Ayan na. O, simulan na natin. May ganyan tayong about. Dahil ako po ay pumasok ulit sa aking klase kanina. Na-miss ko yung mga estudyante. So, hulaan nyo kung ano itong kantang to. Ha? Alam na alam nyo to. Okay. Dapat ganyan din pala yung tempo. Mga bata, magsimula tayo sa pinakadulo. Simula. Isang napaka-husay na lugar upang magsimula. Kapag nabasa mo, simula ka sa ABC. Kapag kumanta ka, nagsisimula ka sa Do, Re, Mi. Do, Re, Mi. Do, Re, Mi. Ang unang 3 tala ay nangyari lamang Do, Re, Mi. Do, Re, Mi. Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti. Tingnan natin kung kaya ko itong gawing madali para sa inyo, mga bata. Si Do, isang usa. Isang babaeng usa. Ray, isang patak ng ginintuang araw. Ako, isang pangalan na tawag ko sa aking sarili. Malayo, isang mahabang paraan upang tumakbo. Tumahi, inkarayom na hila ng thread. Yun talaga ang Tagalog, thread din. La, isang tala upang sundin ang show. Tsaa, inumin na may jam at tinapay. Ibabalik tayo nito sa dough. Oh, yes! The sound of music. Bigyan yan ng 3 diya si Tsunami. Charot, diba? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Gawin. Ngayon, mga anak, do, re, mi, fa, so, at iba pa. Ang mga tool lamang na ginagamit namin upang makabuo ng isang kanta. Kapag mayroon ka namang mga tala na ito sa iyong ulo, maaari kang kumanta ng 1,000,000 iba't ibang mga himig sa pamamagitan ng paghahalo sa kanila. Ganito, gayon din ang La Fa Mi Do Re. Kaya mo ba yan? Kaya mo ba yan? Kaya mo ba to? Jumbo hotdog. Hindi kasama yun. Gayon din ang La Fa Mi Do Re. Kaya gawin ang La Ti Do Re Re. Kaya gawin ang La Ti Do Re Re. Ngayon, pagsamahin ng lahat. Pagsamahin sabay dyan sa bahay. Ganon din ang La Fa Mi Do Re, ganon din ang La Ti Do Re, mabuti. Ngunit wala itong ibig sabihin. Kaya't naglagay kami ng mga salita. Isang salita para sa bawat tala. Ganito. Maraming salamat po, Lee Andrew, sa iyong inspiration sa aking monologue. Ang monologize at tagalize na version na Do, Re, Mi, diba? Ganyan po. So, tandaan nyo, may branding na tayo, ha? Ito lang natin yung gagamitin kay Madam Chetter. MP, monologize, and tagalize. Ayan na.
So, yeah, so that's Madam Chetter. Just to summarize, isipin ninyo sa morning and afternoon, I teach my classes at pag nag-KUMU ako, nandoon din yung mga estudyante ko. Hindi sila required, pero nakikita nila yung other side ko as the teacher in KUMU. Pangalawa, siguro, ang kailangan yung tandaan is to get a bigger audience, you need collaborators. You need a community to take care of you too. So I have Team Ampalaya, I have Euphoria. Siguro basic concept ng Team Ampalaya ay para siyang network or record label. Pero yung Euphoria, siya yung sumusuport sa akin. Kasi nga nung nag-OTS ako, nag-blue check, para makaakyat ka doon sa mismong streaming, doon sa mismong live stream na yon, kailangan may nagbabanner sa'yo. So isipin niyo may mga patarpaulin, parang ganon, pag physical siya na support ng iyong family. Ito ay nagbabanner sila sa baba. So chat. Siguro ang masasabi ko lang para sa mga gustong i-try ang KUMU at kayo ay theater artist, ganito lang ang perspective niyan. At ibig sabihin sa paggawa rin ng online performances. Tayo mga theater artists ay tumatawid sa TV, tumatawid tayo sa film, tumatawid tayo sa iba't ibang field at nilalagay natin doon ang expertise natin. So I think, hindi rin naman masama na ilagay natin ang expertise natin sa online performances, mapa-Facebook pa yan, mapa-KUMU pa yan. Kasi yung disiplina, nandyan pa rin naman yan. At hindi natin masasabing hindi ito theater, kasi marami pang definition na pwedeng mabago kung ano ba talaga ang theater. So maraming salamat po sa isang espasyo na ito na binigay ninyo para ma-discuss ko ang aking background bilang theater artist at bilang theater teacher. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, Olive Nieto. Ayan, ako meron nang na-request sa kanya actually ng my favorite things naman daw, sabi ni Chas Bautista. Okay, we'll see her again later for the Q&A portion. Let's now go to our third speaker. He is a teacher, theater practitioner, live streamer, and host based in Nagasaki, Japan. He is finishing an MA in Theater Arts in UP Diliman, and served as an English teacher in Ateneo de Manila High School and a theater arts instructor at Miriam College QC. He moved to Japan to take part in the Japan Exchange and Teaching Program sponsored by the Japanese government. Having finished the program, he is now an English language teacher at Kyushu Bunka Gakuen, a private IT and English-based school in Nagasaki. He is also an events performer at one of Japan's biggest theme parks. Please welcome Mr. Emmanuel M. Feliciano.
Ayan, magandang. Ay, tanggalin na natin yung ating background filter. There you
Ay,
go.
ay, Eman.
Hello
Ako, bakit,
po. Hello, Eric. Hi. Maraming salamat for having me.
bakit
Ayan,
ba nakaside
nakaside
ka?
ba ako? Pasensya na. Ayan.
Ayan.
Okay, there
Okay,
you go.
okay.
There
Okay.
you go. Thank you so much.
Now, thank you for making time to join us.
No problem. Of course, very excited. Na-excite ako na nandito ako. Kaya nga, nag-leave ako ng konting oras sa work para makapunta, para maka-join sa inyo. So,
Nako,
thank you so
maraming
much.
salamat. Okay, so I believe you have a presentation, so I'll hand it over to you.
Yes.
Okay, take it away, Eman.
Okay, thank you so much. Yan. Thank you so much. Ayan. Mga kaibigan, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Emmanuel Feliciano, and on KUMU, I am Eman Mega. Actually, pinili ko na magkaroon ng live background for tonight instead of the virtual background. Gusto kong ipakita sa inyo. Actually, ngayon magde-debut ang aking bagong background tonight because also tonight I have a show on KUMU at 6 p.m. Manila time. Hindi ba napaka-busy ko today? And I will be debuting this background pero kayo po muna ang unang makakakita. Dahil speaking of background, sa KUMU po, when you stream on KUMU, hindi lang po content ang dinadala ninyo. Kasama na rin po sa dinadala ninyo sa KUMU ay ang presentation ninyo ng inyong content. That is why it is important to have a background that you think will be watchable. Yan, ganyan. So, kung nasaan man parte tayo ng bahay natin, nagsi-stream, it is important for us to be presentable, not only physically, but also kumbaga, in theater, we need to have a good production value. Diba? May production design din pagdating sa KUMU. So I think all those skills will come into play pag nag-KUMU tayo. So now, my content is all about this. Now, why I teach on KUMU? Because right now, my main career here in Japan is teaching. So I teach English at a private school here in Japan. But before I came to Japan, sa Pilipinas po, ako din po ay isang theater performer, on stage and behind the scenes, on stage and backstage. I worked as a director and assistant director for several productions with several directors in the Philippines, kagaya nila Dexter Santos, sila Tony Mabesa, and then I was also able to work with, of course, Sir Eric, Ate Uleb, si Miss Uleb Nieto, in many ways. Kami po ay magkakaklase sa master's degree. Yun po yung ginagawa ko noon sa Pilipinas bukod sa pagtuturo. When I came to Japan, lahat po ng aking theater activities ay nahinto. Because unang-una sa lahat, syempre malayo ako sa Pilipinas where I've already established a connection in the Philippines and I've already somehow jump-started a theater career in the Philippines. But all of those had to stop when I went to Japan, and I had to concentrate on my career here as a teacher because I joined the exchange program. It's called Japan Exchange in Teaching Program. So they get teachers from all over the world, English teachers from all over the world to help their Japanese teachers teach English. Because even though they have Japanese English teachers here, they are still not as skilled as probably other nationalities are when it comes to teaching English. That's why they need help, and that's our role here. It wasn't a very drastic career change because I've been teaching in the Philippines. Pero in terms of my passion, addressing my other passion, which is theater, zero. Bigla siyang nag-zero nawala. No? So for a few years, I just got satisfied with watching my friends perform online, watching the Virgin Lab Fest be performed online at a certain point, and then of course collaborating with my friends with online contents, writing for events, ganyan. And then of course I had the privilege of having one of my plays accepted in the 2019, if I'm not mistaken, 2019 Virgin Lab Fest. So at least nakapagsulat ako. Sabi ko, at least nakapagsulat ako. Nasama yung play ko sa Virgin Lab Fest. Pero, I could not, I was looking for an avenue to actually perform again. And even though online. And I discovered KUMU last year through a friend, not a theater friend actually, a friend from the comedy bar industry, na nagkukumu siya. Sabi ko, ano ba itong Kumu? So I downloaded it last year. Pero I never got to create an account, to go in, to do a live stream until last January. And because I missed performing, I came to Kumu wanting to be a singing streamer, a performer on Kumu. But eventually, it led me to go back to another passion of mine, which is teaching and teaching on Kumu. At ang ikikwento ko po sa inyo ngayon ay ang journey on why I ended up teaching again on Kumu, but also the lessons behind it and the lessons on branding and what we call now the community making. Yan. So next slide, please. Yes, there you go. Actually po, ang Kumu, I was talking with somebody about this, and we say that Kumu is our own little showbiz world. True enough, di ba? Kasi ngayon ang Kumu ay dominated na rin ng mga showbiz personalities. When ABS-CBN tied up with Kumu to have their artists on Kumu, dalawa yung naging impact and effect niya. Dun sa mga streamers ng Kumu, we were like, oh my God, so paano na tayo? So we are already struggling on a regular basis to get viewers, tapos darating yung mga artista. Ganyan, darating yung mga showbiz personalities. But also, it was a testament to the growing popularity of Kumu, hindi ba? Na, on the other hand, you can think about it in such a way na, now we are on the same platform with the celebrities. Somehow, in our own little showbiz world, di ba, magkakasama na tayong nag-stream. Ganon. Next slide, please. Thank you so much. Yan. Pero ang challenge doon, hindi ba, sa isang platform where there are 7 million, in fact, sabi nga ni JV kanina, 7 million, and now growing number of streamers. Imagine all those 7 million streamers streaming at the same time, although that of course won't happen, but a lot of the streamers stream at the same time. How do you create a space for you? Since we are talking about bringing performance and performance making to an online platform, hindi naman natin maihihiwalay yung need na, aside from let's just literally bringing the performance and performance making to a digital platform, yung pangangailangan din natin as performers to do it well. Hindi ba? Kasi nakakahiya din naman sa mga nagtuturo sa atin, sa mga mentors natin, sa mga pinagpe-performan natin noon, at sa sarili natin to just go and stream and create what we call in Kumu, what they call tambay stream, which I tried to do one time na hindi ko nagustuhan yung sarili ko, and I also got called out for it. Yung alam mo yung pupunta ka lang doon na wala kang content, wala kang plano, binuksan mo lang at nag-live stream ka at parang, hi guys, anong gagawin natin? Anong pag-uusapan natin? Di ko alam, kayong bahala. Huli ka dito, kwentuhan tayo. So, I could not bring myself to do that. So, but that was the question in my mind. How do you create a space for you? Sa dinami-dami in the sea, in a vast array of content and performers on Kumu, how do you create a space for you? Kung dadalhin mo na rin lang naman yung sarili mo sa ganitong platform, might as well try your best to create something. Next slide po. Now, nung ginagawa ko itong slide na to, bigla akong naisip, since bumabalik ako sa aking roots in performance and in theater, when we were discussing mythology as a basis of drama, naging academic conference ba ito? Nung naisip ko, naalala ko yung Greek mythology na pinag-uusapan namin as a foundation of drama. Naalala ko din yung monomyth, and I'm sure you've also heard of that. And as theater practitioners, kasama yan sa pinag-aaralan natin na pattern ng mga stories, di ba? The hero's journey, a monomyth. Tas na-realize ko, sandali lang, parang yung Kumu journey nating lahat, pwede nating maihalin tulad sa isang mythological character, or pwede nating maihalin tulad dun sa archetypal na paglalakbay ng isang hero, hindi ba? Kaya subukan natin ito, samahan ninyo ako na i-discuss yung KUMU journey ko na maaaring KUMU journey nyo o maging KUMU journey ninyo in the future through the pattern of the hero's journey or the monomyth. Okay? Yan, sige, tingnan natin po yung next slide. So, yes, of course, the hero or the hero in the story starts with an ordinary world. Starts in an ordinary world. Ayan. So, ito po ako. This is actually a screenshot of my first ever attempt to go on KUMU. This was in January. October, November ko pa yata na-download yung KUMU, pero nag-umpisa lang akong umakyat, as they call it, sa isang stream sa KUMU in January. I did not have any setup. I did not have a background. I did not have a sound card, a microphone, which I already have now. I just attempted to go around. Ang tawag doon, iikot ka. Iikot. So no, in KUMU speak, iikot ka. Tapos meron sa aking nagpaakyat na parang stream. Yung nasa gitna, ito 9 slots ito eh. And then yung nakita nyo yung nasa gitna nakalagay, host. So the person hosts the stream and can choose how many slots he wants to create so that people can come up. Pwedeng umakyat yung mga tao. That was in January 6, I think. On January 6, 2021, nung January lang. Pero it stopped there. Ganon. So ganun lang. So an ordinary world. Ito yung point that I want to have KUMU. I just want to enjoy it. I just want to be an ordinary person who just goes around and watches people stream, give gifts when I feel like, but somebody asked me to come up and then somebody asked me to sing for them. And so I sang and they said, "Oh, why don't you become a singing streamer here on KUMU?" So, but of course, I set this in an ordinary world because KUMU is dominated by singers. KUMU is dominated by singers. And nung nakita ko nga na, sandali lang, nandito yung mga taga Philippine Idol, kagaya nila Lance Busa, andito yung mga taga Star in a Million na hinahangaan ko noon, sila DKT Hub, sila Divo Bayer, tapos andito si Yumi Laksamana, andito yung mga malalaking singers, si Marlo Mortel, andito yung mga malalaking singers. So sabi ko, what is my space in KUMU, hindi ba? Next slide, please. And then of course, ang nangyayari in the hero's journey, sa umpisa, you go with the status quo, diba? Kung ano man yung kung ano yung norm, kung ano yung nakasanayan, you go with that, and that's what I did. So it took me 2 weeks before I finally planned my first stream. Sabi ko, my debut LS, ganyan. So on the 20th of January, I started streaming, and that was a singing stream. I prepared a set list, I prepared songs, and yun po ang aking ginawa. And of course, just like a lot of people who go on KUMU, they want to sing, and I tried to sing. And aside from that, meron pa po akong ibang ginawa. So next slide, please. So the hero starts with the status quo, but also responds to the call to adventure, hindi ba? So yung call to adventure ko po was when I decided to join a singing competition. I only had one live stream. Isang beses pa lang po akong nag-live stream. Pagkatapos merong nag-invite sa akin to join a singing competition. And I joined the singing competition. It was also my first time to experience a singing competition on KUMU. And nakakatuwa siya. The contest is called KUMU Kuya Grand Singer. Ayan. So yung host po niya ay gumagamit ng vocal changer to sound like Kuya sa bahay ni Kuya ng Pinoy Big Brother. I did not win the competition. I ended up being in the finals though, the final 6, I think. But I did not win the competition. But it was an experience worthy of remembering. But even after that, I found myself struggling to be a singing streamer on KUMU. Dahil nga, I don't feel like, somehow you have self-doubt and you don't feel like you're the best. I don't feel like I was the best singer. There are better singers. There are famous singers. There are popular singers on KUMU. So the question was, what is my space on KUMU? Where is my space here? Next slide. And of course, in the hero's journey, yun nga, kagaya ng sinabi ni Jave, I will reiterate this, but I'll just do it fast. Kasi nasabi na nila ito eh. Sa hero's journey, hindi ba, ng ating mga paboritong characters, during their call to adventure, lagi silang merong nahanap na assistance. And that is what I got. No? The first line of assistance I got was actually from from Olive Nieto. Let me share this experience with you. I was just watching her doing hula hoop sa kanyang stream. Nag-hula hoop lang siya, and then I was there, I was watching, and then I was chatting with her through her live stream. And JV Can Talk came, and I sang for him, and then we created a connection right there and then. And then he told me, "Oh, let me help you. Let me help you with your journey in KUMU." And also the people in the stream, JS Bajola, one of the people who's hosting the photo. They told me the KUMU 101. Kung ano po yung sinabi ni JV kanina sa kanyang talk, yun po naranasan ko po yung KUMU 101 na yon. So there's this assistance. Next slide po. And then of course, departure. Ano ba yung sa hero's journey? Ano ba yung departure? The departure is when you are ready, when you've gained that assistance and you've gained the equipment to go, you go on the departure. You depart for your journey. And that is what I did. So I observed for a month. After January, hindi muna po ako nag-stream. I started streaming February because I went around, I looked around, I observed, and I said, maybe I should be a little bit unique. So I tried to do it's called KKK Monday, Kantahan at Kwentuhan with Kuya Eman. So I wasn't just singing. I was also chatting with people, trying to start a conversation. But then it was difficult. Yung parang kakanta, tapos magtatanong ko, kumusta kayo dyan? Kumusta naman ang puso ninyo? Anong lagay ng inyong pag-ibig? Mga ganyan, hindi ba? So you cater to your market also because a lot of the people, as I mentioned before, are Gen Zs, millennials, ito yung generation na merong #hugot. So you try to cater to them. But again, it was a struggle. It was a struggle because you don't get the views that you like. You don't get the engagement that you like. And I was not yet a featured streamer here. So that was my departure after the call to adventure. So what's next? Next slide po. And then, of course, you go through a crisis, just like any other. Streaming, just like performing, and just like the archetypal flow of a story, you also go through a crisis. When you create something, when you make a performance, when you create something artistic, and when you create content in online world's case, you go through a crisis sometimes, like, oh, who am I here? Who am I and who am I here? Sino ba ako dito? Why am I here? And how can I make this work? Kagaya ng sinabi ni Uleb kanina, hindi ba? When you go to a platform like this, I think just like in any platform, even in theater, you have to ask, why am I here? What is your why? Ano yung bakit mo? Who am I here and why am I here and how can I make this work? So ang sabi ko, I started on KUMU just wanting to perform. But apparently, doing what you love on a platform like this is more than just interest. It's more than just wanting to perform. Because eventually, for a person who is conscious about quality and about performance and about performance making, you cannot just say, oh, I just want to sing. I just want to perform. You have to go through the motion and you have to learn the ropes as well. And you have to create the best content that you have. Because at the end of the day, if you just go there doing what you like, but not maximizing the time, you waste your time, you waste your effort, and you end up feeling bad. Diba? So I went through that crisis and asked myself, why am I here? And how can I make this work? Next slide po. And so, ayan, doon na tayo sa next slide. Yes, there you go. In the hero's journey, in the monomyth, the hero actually after the crisis finds a treasure. Itong treasure na ito ay parang ito yung parang Deus ex machina. Ito yung magical thing na bigla na lang lumilitaw at nagsosolve ng mga problema, hindi ba? Ewan ko, ang naalala ko dito yung yung burlesque ni Christina Aguilera na pagkatapos ng lahat ng struggle nila, biglang meron lang isang maliit na bagay na lumabas at solve na yung problema natin. Parang ganun. But in this case, iba. Ito naman yung medyo na iba. So the treasure that I was actually looking for was already available. Sabi ko, how can I be different? How can I maximize this platform? Then I learned that, you have to stick to your core. You have to be true to who you are also as a person. And for me, I thought, why not bring my teaching on KUMU? In the first place, I also miss teaching in the Filipino context. Even though I am a teacher here in Japan, and you'd think it doesn't actually make a difference, there is a huge difference between teaching your own country's children and another country's children. Magkaiba po. Aside from, of course, the degree of English, yun din pong, alam mo yung feeling of connection, hindi mahirap siyang hanapin. So, I was looking for an avenue as well. Realize ko, I am also looking for an avenue to teach in the Filipino context. That's why I created my Edutainment Wednesday. I created the character. I created the persona of Kuya Eman and Teacher Eman. And I started Edutainment Wednesday, wherein I teach common Pinoy, common English grammar, practical English grammar, catering to the Filipino audience. And yun nga, and a treasure it was. Kasi dun ko nahanap yung niche and yung market and yung audience that will actually stay with me in my stream. Next slide po. Diba? Ayun. Kaya, yun ang nangyari. So, actually, ang ginagawa ko, as I said, okay, now I found my niche. I found what I can do best in KUMU. Hindi ba? So ito, sasampulan ko po kayo. No, I know that there's a 20-second delay sa KUMU, pero let's try this one out. Yon. So this is actually how I would usually teach every Wednesday. It's of course not the usual classroom setup. Otherwise, magiging magiging online class lang ito, hindi ba? So I try to teach in a different way. So ito yung sinamahan ko, of course, ng something relatable. Sinamahan ko, kagaya nito, mga modals na may #hugot. Di ba? Ito yon. So, sige, simulan natin. I'll go KUMU mode. Ikakabit ko lang itong ano. There you go. So, I will go KUMU mode right now, no, para sa inyo. And I hope you can, sa mga nandito po sa ating stream, I hope you can participate. Ayan. Once you get and hear the question, please participate para po masampulan ko kayo on my KUMU content. So, this is your Kuya Eman, your teacher Eman, and welcome to Wednesday, Edutainment Wednesday. And today we will be doing another episode of Englishisms, Lessonisms. And today ang pag-aaralan natin ay mga modals na may hugot. Next slide, please. Ayan, ito po yung mga modals. Ang mga modals po are essentially helping verbs, hindi ba? Kagaya ng can, would, could, should, may, might. Kadalasan itong mga helping verbs na itong mga modals, nahahanap natin to sa mga hugot lines. Pero mag-ingat kayo kasi baka mamaya yung pinagagamitan yung hugot lines, mali pala ang pagkakagamit nyo ng can, would, could, should, may, might, at iba pang mga modals. So today, let's learn how to use them properly. Next slide, please. Our first one, for example, the modal can. You use can when you express ability or when you make a request. For example, can you drive this car? Or I can drive this car. Or can you love me for who I am? Or I can love you for who you are. Diba? Merong hugot. Merong hugot. At syempre, para po sa inyo na nanonood ngayon, sa KUMU po, meron pong usong-uso po ito. Ang canned laughter, hindi ba? Ang canned laughter kapag meron kang mga funny, medyo funny, or pinipilit mong maging funny na mga lines, you click that canned laughter from your sound card, right? So can, ability, or request. Next slide, please. Could. Pumipiyok pa. Could. Okay, so you use could when you're trying to express past ability, a request, or a suggestion, right? Can and could, sometimes people think they can use can and could interchangeably. In some contexts, you can. But be careful. There are some situations when you cannot use can and you cannot use could. Okay, only one of the two is possible. For example, here, you say, I could run fast when I was younger. It's better to say I could run fast than saying I can run fast. Diba? And this one, could you just be with me for another 5 minutes before I let you go? Diba? May hugot ang mga modals. And you could come back to me. You know, diba? So nagagamit mo yung hugot. Nagagamit mo yung modals para sa mga hugot lines mo. Hindi ba? So that's how you can use could. Next slide, please. And now, let's use may, right? The modal may. This is for formal permission. Naku, gamit na gamit natin to. Elementary pa lang tayo. Alam na natin ang gamit ng may. For example, ma'am, may I go out? Di ba? So, yon. So, kagaya nito, we can use may. It may be possible. We may be possible. Di ba? May I come in to your heart? Di ba mga ganyan? Again, canned laughter, yes, is the key. There you go. So, yan po ay sample lamang. Mahaba po itong lesson na ito because my teaching stream usually lasts for 2 hours. Yan. Pero, ngayon naman, doon na tayo, magja-jump tayo sa next segment. So, next slide, please. After the content, I have a segment called Class Recitation. Yan, class. At dito po, I need your participation. Hindi ko po nakikita yung nasa Facebook ngayon. Pero, I will be needing, nandito pala sa isa kong device. I will be needing your participation, mga nandito po sa ating stream. Okay, I will be flashing some questions. And if you think there is nothing wrong, press 1. Yung pong key na 1. And if you think something is wrong, press 2. Okay? Yun po ang aking request po sa inyo ngayon. All right, let's start. Next slide, please. Oh, yes. There you go. Thank you very much. So, number 1, do you think may mali or wala? Should you pass the salt? Kung hindi man mali, at least something awkward, di ba? Should you pass the salt? Yan. So, please tell me. 1 or 2. Please press 1 or 2. Alam ko na meron tayong 20-second delay sa Facebook live. So, ayan. Dito po sa aming backstage, meron na po nagsabi ng 1. May nagsabi ng 2. Ayan, yan, usually mini-mention ko yung mga names eh. Ayan, may sabi ni Chaz, 2. Sabi ni Glenn, 1 dun sa Facebook. Sabi ni Eric ay 1. O sige, bibilangan ko kayo. Sabi ni Chaz, 2. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Uy, sabi ni Sir Melvin. Sir Melvin, and ni Michael, 1. Di ba? So now let's go to the answer. Depende sa context. Oy, may nagsasabing, depende sa context. Oo nga, actually. But the correct answer is, in the usual normal context, the correct answer is 1. Again, yes, depende yan sa context, di ba? Pero in the normal context, pag sinabi mong, should you pass the salt? Pag sinabihan ka bang nung tao na, I should not. Anong sasabihin mo? Eh di nagalit ka, nag-away kayong dalawa, hindi ba? Oh, di ba? Again, cue in canned laughter. Yun. Hindi ba? Next po. Next. Let's go to the next slide. Yes, next slide. Press 1 kung sa tingin nyo may mali. Press 2 kung wala. You must not be rude. You must not be rude. Again, let's wait for the 20-second delay sa Facebook Live. But dito sa aming backstage, sumasagot na po sila. Sabi nila, 2, wala daw mali. Okay? Nothing wrong with the statement. Nothing wrong with the sentence. Kayo po, live stream na live stream. Hindi ba? Oo. Yan, I'm sampling how I do my live streaming hindi ba? Ayan na, si Dada said 1. Okay? Yes, meron nang sumagot ng 1. Chaz said 2. Sir Eric said 2. Okay, bibilangan ko po kayo. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's go to the answer. Ano po ang answer? Ayan. Ang galing, nakakatuwa sila sa backstage namin. Sumasagot talaga sila. The correct answer is, sorry pala. Yan. Sorry, mali. Ako yung mali. It's actually 2. Wala pong mali. Oo, walang mali. Next slide na para hindi makitang nakakahiya yung yung slide na to. All right. So you ought to behave properly in class. Ayan. Dalian na natin, no? So let's answer this one already. Can you show us the answer? Ayan. 2. Yes, wala pong mali. You ought to behave properly in class. Okay, there you go. Yan po yung tinatawag ko na class recitation, where this is actually a form of engagement, and I will talk about engagement later on. Now let's go to the next slide. After the class recitation, meron kaming recess. Okay, ito pong recess is the segment of my show where we can actually do anything since it's recess. Nakakatuwa kasi now that I have regular viewership on Wednesdays with this content, yung mga viewers ko po every Wednesday, they play along and they pretend to be students. Ayan. Hintuin na natin yung ating They play along and they pretend to be students and they pretend that they're supposed to sell a tray, di ba? Yung sa public school system natin na nagbebenta ng tray, ganyan. Tapos sa baba, nagsasabi sila, oh, ikaw na, Ethan. Oh, please pass the tray. Ikaw na yung magbenta. Oh, wag kang masyadong magbibigay ng 2 Nutriban sa mga crush mo. Ikaw talaga, mga ganon. So, ganon yung nangyayari during recess. And also, this is a time for the students to come up and do intermission numbers. Diba? Oo, yun. So, yun. So, they to come up and do intermission numbers. So, yun lang po. There you go. Thank you very much. Ayan. O mamaya na daw mamaya na daw tayo mag-banner. Thank you very much. And yon. And after that, we go to the next slide po. And we have a Kahoot battle. This is also where I create a Kahoot. If you haven't been to Kahoot, Kahoot is actually an online platform, an online site where you can create quizzes and anybody can access that quiz and play the game with you. Oo, yan yung Kahoot. So meron po niya. Namimigay din po ako ng tinatawag natin na KUMU Diamonds. So may prize. So, iyan po yung aking content. There you go. So, thank you very much. So, next slide po. Ayan. There you go. So, that is the content that I thought would be like, oh, that's the content where I felt I was satisfied. I was happy with the results. I was satisfied with the turnout. And then I realized, oh, this is actually what's going to be my main content. I still have singing content because I still love performing. But this is also a form of performance, right? It's also content creation. It's content production. This does not go, oo, di ba? Team Hubien, oo, tama. This does not go, ano yun? Nakalimutan ko yung sasabihin ko, merong nag-flash doon. This is not just, a normal content for me. So ito yung parang, this is something that goes well with not only my passion, but also my advocacy for education, hindi ba? And of course, when the hero in the story finds their treasure, there is a result. Diba? The result. Doon na tayo balik tayo sa monomyth, the result. So eventually, because of that content led me to different opportunities on KUMU. At kasama na nga po dyan ang pagkakaroon ng aking blue badge or naging verified content creator. I was able to to grab that blue badge and become a content creator. At ngayon ko lang po nakita na ako po pala ay level 11 na. Dito lang po sa screen. I didn't notice because last time I was still on level 10. Ito nga po palang level na yan. Ito po ang tinatawag na mango level sa KUMU. This is a level that you achieve by streaming or also by dropping virtual gifts to performers. Kasi ako po ay mahilig din po na kasi ewan ko, alam ko yung feeling niya. I know the feeling of not being rewarded for your work, for your hard work, for your performance work. So whenever I see a streamer performing really well with great content and great talent, I give virtual gifts. Yun. So that is another reason another way to go up your mango level. And now I'm on mango level 11. And as you can see, below the screenshot, there is actually a badge called Hubient. So aside from my verified streamer badge, I was also able to enter a KUMU talent agency. Yes, sa KUMU po ay meron din pong talent agencies. That is why this is indeed our little showbiz world. Hindi ba? So I was, I don't know if you can say hired. I was hired by a talent agency to be in their roster. What is the benefit of being in a talent agency on KUMU if it's also something that you may be able to aspire for? KUMU, of course, as we know, as JV and Ulev have said, it also has an opportunity, also presents an opportunity to earn something, to earn money. It's also an income stream for a lot of people. And when you are part of a talent agency, the income stream sort of doubles. Because KUMU actually establishes talent agencies in order to ensure that streamers will stream regularly and will stream with quality content. That's why they get streamers under the wings of a talent agency. So how it works is, I think I can say it here, wala naman tayo sa KUMU, no, nasa Facebook tayo. I think the way they do it is, aside from your earnings, your actual earnings from your KUMU live streaming, sabihan niyo ako sa backstage, allowed ba? Okay, thank you very much, JV. Yes. So, aside from your actual KUMU earnings, the talent agency also gives you an incentive for the KUMU earnings that you have. So, diba, you earn money from a certain number of diamonds. For example, if you have 500,000 diamonds, That is around 8,000 pesos, I think, no? 8,000 pesos. That is your actual Kumu earning alone, hindi ba? But when you're under a talent agency, tinatapatan nila yon, so to speak, di ba? Tinatapatan nila yung amount na yon. It's not as big, but you also get something. So if you have 500,000 pesos from Kumu and you have a talent agency, you can earn up to 13,000 to 14,000 pesos a month. Parang ganun po yung nangyayari. So all of these were the result of me finding my niche, finding the main content, finding the content that I'm most comfortable doing, and finding the content that I think will click, hindi ba? So that was my treasure, and now here is the result. So yun po. Yun yung ano. And aside from this, marami pang mga nangyari, hindi ba? Next slide po. Yes, this is also another thing. Kagaya na sinabi kanina ni JB, campaigns are also prevalent on Kumu. And I was privileged to join a campaign, my first ever campaign, and I won. This is the 17th slot, but they got 20. Nasama po ako sa 17, sa 20 na yon, and I got the 17th slot. The campaign is a Gizmo Agogo campaign. You win gadgets when you become part of the winners circle. And of course, the gadget, aside from that, you also gain sort of a status on Kumu when you win campaigns, because they know that, oh, malakas ito, right? Because they are able to campaign. I was able to garner 1.92 million diamonds. And so people believe in you. It's a testament that people trust you, believe in you, support you. And, but I could not have done that alone. Again, reiterating that, because it was through the help of my team, my friends, and the family that took me under their wing, which is, of course, Euphoria family. Yan, di ba? Shout out to the Euphoria family. Thank you very much. And yun po, that was the result. See, I'm telling this story not, of course, to just tell you the story, but also that's why I was putting it under the context of the monomyth or the hero's journey, because this is a pattern that we can all undergo, that we can all experience, but it may be in a different way. We all have our own journeys, but the pattern is probably the same. And the most important thing there is, whenever you go online, you try to do your best, and you find your niche, and you find the content that you are good at creating, everything else will follow, right? Everything else will follow. And this is the result of me finding that. Next slide po. There you go. And of course, the return. Yeah. So after all of the things that I was able to establish, of course, I returned to my core, and of course, that is teaching, diba? That is teaching. So now, this is my main content, and of course, I try to develop other contents, diba? Next po. Yes. And of course, return. Sabi nga sa hero's journey, after the journey and after the return, the hero in the monomyth establishes a new life. So ngayon po, I am enjoying sort of a new life on Kumu. Hindi lang ito, so now I have sort of established myself not only as a regular streamer, but as a featured streamer, and also as a partner, as a featured streamer on an official channel as well. Kasi magkaiba po yung sarili mong page at magkaiba rin yung channel. Channels, kagaya nga ng sinabi ni Ulib kanina, are like networks. Kumbaga, sa Kumu meron ding mini ABS-CBN, may mini GMA7, may mini GTV, may mini A to Z channel, ganyan. And one of those channels, of course, is the Team Ampalaya channel. And I have had the privilege of being the host of one of their shows, which is called, and I need a reverb for this, Friday, M and Love. Yan, di ba kailangan po may reverb? Kasi that's how I do it on my show. It's called Friday, M and Love, which is obviously on a Friday. This is about love, about the pains of love, and about learning from those pains, di ba? So that is my new show. At mamaya po yan ng 6 p.m. Manila time. Yun po. So this is the new life, di ba? And of course, the new life is also the new status quo for the journey in the monomyth, hindi ba? So now that I've achieved this, the next challenge is not to be complacent and not to just be in this new life, because this is my new status quo. Ang mangyayari, the journey just repeats itself. And speaking of repetition, let's go to the next slide. Thank you. Now, the challenge is to stay alive, hindi ba? You've undergone that journey as an online performer. How do you stay alive? How do you retain that? How do you retain that status? Let's go to the next slide, please. Of course, this now becomes a lesson on marketing, on branding, hindi ba? And on retention, right? The best thing to do, of course, in the beginning is to observe. And then the next one is to seek mentors. Okay, don't be afraid to seek mentors, whether in live performances or on online performances. Seek mentors. It's very important. And that leads us to the next one, which is to find your spot, right? Find your niche, find your spot. In the sea of ordinariness around us, I think there is always a chance for us to find our spot, and you have to find yours, right? And let's go to the next one. Okay. And of course, create your brand. The brand I have created on KUMU is, of course, Teacher Eman and Kuya Eman. All right? Parang yung brand din ni Olive Nieto na, Miss Olive na, Madam Cheddar, and of course, the queen maker and king of talk on KUMU, JB Canto. You know, it's important to create your brand because this is also recall for people, right? This makes you unique. This makes you easy to recall. Which brings us to the next point. Be consistent. Yeah. Some of us are guilty of not being consistent. Kagaya ko po, I was out for a week or two because after Holy Week, no, naging busy tayo. Ayan, okay, there you go. So naging busy because of some transitions outside in real life, outside of KUMU. But of course, the challenge is to be consistent. Be consistent with your time, be consistent with your branding. Although KUMU is a platform where you can go live anytime you like, you know, it matters to be consistent. To have a programming format and a programming schedule talaga that you follow, which in my case is supposedly every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Be consistent. That is another very important thing. And which brings us to the next one. Engage your viewers. Yun pong, the thing that I did a while ago with you, where I ask you to press 1 or 2, is actually a way for me to gather engagement. On KUMU, engagement is very important. Yung pong pinakita ko ng mga photos kanina ng mga posters, those are from what we call the explore page. Yun po yung bubulaga sa inyo when you open KUMU. It's called the explore page. And then you can see who's live streaming now. The engagement will determine how high up you will be on the explore page. The more people comment on your stream, the more people click the likes and click the hearts and share your stream, the higher you will go on the engagement page, on the on the explore page. So it matters that you engage your viewers. It's just like engaging people in your live performances. You also have to engage your viewers online. Next. And then po tayo sa next slide. Ayan. And the next one, of course, is promote. Yes, it matters that you promote. Weeks ahead, not only hours ahead, weeks ahead, days ahead, you promote your content. You go around and promote your content. The next one, please. And of course, yes, ask nicely. Meron po kami sinasabi sa KUMU na ask nicely because if you also want this to be an income stream, there is also a way to ask nicely for virtual gifts. Not people sometimes need the prodding for them to give you that virtual gift. Diba parang sa busking nga, kagaya ng sabi ni Uleb, they need some prodding para magbagsak sila ng barya or magbagsak sila ng pera, and you ask nicely. Meron pong term sa KUMU tinatawag na budol. At alam naman natin kung ano ang budol, hindi ba? Ang budol, ito yung kung nangunguha tayo ng material things, ng pera most of the time without actually anything in return, hindi ba? Wala palang return sa kanila, nang budol lang tayo. The return to them, of course, is the quality of our streaming. And when you stream with quality, they will give you money. But of course, sometimes you have to ask nicely. Parang ganun. So that is also a KUMU, that is part of the KUMU jargon, yung budol. And of course, asking nicely. Asking without asking, right? Next slide, please. And of course, always offer something new. Yes, as performers, as performance makers, live or online, it is our duty, our responsibility to offer something new to our audience, hindi ba? Of course, always think of something fresh. Lalo na sa konteksto natin ngayon, in the industry that we are in right now, something new is always needed, hindi ba? So things don't last very long anymore. And of course, you always have to offer something new. So our KUMU journey is not only a journey, a personal journey of, fulfilling your passion, of recovering from your mental fatigue, recovering from your sadness. It was also a lesson on being able to properly transition performance making from a live platform to an online platform. And hopefully these are lessons that can also inspire or at least teach a thing or two about branding and about other things that go with performance. So, yun po. Meron pa ba tayong next slide? I think, last na natin. Ayan. Ito na. Siyempre, importante po ang resting. Yes, always rest. Kagaya ng sabi ni Uleb, nagkasakit na rin kami sa kaka-stream every day. But of course, after you rest and you recover and you know the importance of rest, the last one is to repeat. Ganyan po. Because that is how we live as performers. We do our best, we rest, and then we repeat. So I believe that is all of my slides. Hindi ba? There you go. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present my journey and the lessons I learned on KUMU. Thank you.
And thank you very much, Emman. That's a wonderful sharing naman ng iyong journey, hero's journey on how to find your spot on KUMU. Okay, please stay with us for the Q&A portion. We now call back our speakers, Uleb and JV. So guys, we now open the session for some questions from our audience. Please send it through the comment section of this live stream. Or if you want to remain anonymous in asking your question, you can send it through Facebook Messenger by directly messaging this page. We have a wonderful team of Jello, Kate, Jadine, Rafa, and Anne managing your comments on social media. And on Zoom, I have with me this amazing team of Glenn, Shema, Bessie, Meryl, Jerry, and Rachel. Now, we will try to get through as many questions as we can, but if we run out of time, we encourage you to continue the conversation online through various social media channels. You can tag our speakers using their social media handles that they have provided on our poster. You can visit their KUMU page, actually. You have their KUMU handles. Please don't forget to use the hashtag beta so that others can also learn from your thoughts. All right, sige. Napakaganda ng sharing ninyong tatlo actually. From the overview of KUMU, JV talked about his passion actually, from theater to giving advice or actually hosting, and now nangyari, naging parang mentor na siya ngayon, and producer also ng mga content. And then si Olive, iba rin yung kanyang flavor because she's a scholar, practitioner, who creates and then brings it back to the university, nagkakaroon ng mga papers yung kanyang mga ginagawa. So it becomes also a way to expand her range as a performer. And ibang-iba rin yung kay Emman actually because aside from being a theater practitioner, nagkaroon siya ng kanyang own brand of edutainment, entertaining na educational pa, di ba? Actually, mag-enjoy ako sa mga classes mo, Emman. Alright. So meron tayong mga questions ngayon, from Miss Grace Domingo Bangloy. Hi, as a parent, my concern is that since this is a live streaming platform, how can we guarantee that all contents would be safe for young audiences? Ayan.
Good question po yan. JV. Sige, JV.
Okay. The good news for parents is that KUMU is a family-friendly app. In KUMU, we do have what we call KUMU police. They go around everyone's live stream checking if everyone is, always nice,
Ayan,
kind and decent. So in KUMU, some people natutong mas maging mabuting tao because of KUMU because hindi sila pwedeng magmura. You can't. You just can't say bad words. And also you have to be decent. You have to be wearing something. Hindi ka pwedeng topless. Even for men cannot even be topless. That's not allowed. So KUMU is actually good for anyone kahit anong age. Pero hopefully, I think sana mga 16 years old up, if there is a minor who will go on KUMU, let's say a 7-year-old, they can do live stream as long as there's a parent na nakasama doon sa stream. Kailangan laging may guidance. No one na minor masyad dapat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Olive and then Emman?
Siguro doon din sa side naman ng chat section ng KUMU, merong mga nakatag na words na hindi mo pwedeng sabihin. So kung kunwari may mga hate words, automatic nasi-censor siya. Actually, ang hirap din kasi minsan um, may pare-pareho kasing vowels yung hate words and yung ordinary words na ginagamit. So minsan nanghuhula rin kami. So para maiwasan yon, sinisensor siya agad ng KUMU. Hindi siya lalabas sa chat. Of course, there's also that report function, report button sa KUMU. So mabilis ang mga tao. So kung kunwari, 'di ba, may ingat na ingat kami diyan kasi si Eman dati nagpapakyat siya nung bago siya. Tapos sinabihan siya ni JV. There's also an option na i-limit mo yung audience na pwedeng umakyat sa stream mo. So nung una hindi pa alam ni Eman yun. Buti hindi siya nabastos or anything. So you can limit. So kung kunwari nagfa-followan tayo, pwede kang umakyat sa stream ko. So may ganon. Kung may nagpa-follow sa'yo, tas finollow back mo siya, kailangan alam mo rin yung profile niya. Doon ka dapat maingat din. Ano pa ba? Siguro maganda rin, meron din tinatawag na hashtag SPG. So sa cover photos namin, pag nasa live page ka, nakalagay doon hashtag SPG. So merong sign na below 18, hindi siya pwede. Yon. Tapos tama yung sinabi ni JV kasi minsan ako dire-diretso yung panalilita ko sa KUMU tapos natatakot ako kasi yung language na ginagamit mo, syempre napaka-conversational. Naging mabuti akong tao because of KUMU kasi nga alam namin na karamihan ng audience ng KUMU ay mga bata. Yun nga, mga estudyante ko nga yung pumapasok eh. So you have to be very careful. Parang ang dating ay inaalagaan ka ng community mo, sa community kumbaga, at inaalagaan mo rin sila pabalik.
Oo. Sa akin naman, kasi nga dahil I do a lot of teaching content, nakaranas na rin ako syempre na magpaakyat ng mga bagets ng mga bata doon sa aking content. And of course, that is always supposed to be under the supervision of their parents if they come up to participate in the games, in the grammar, in the quizzes that I do. And then, there was a time na, there was a time na merong umakyat na bata and wala siyang parent na kasama, siya lang yung mag-isa sa bahay. So I had no choice but to ask her to go down, bumaba. Yun. Kasi we have to adhere to these strict rules because a violation of these rules means that you are going to be stripped of your badge or not be allowed to stream anymore. Kaya KUMU assures that quality so you can be assured that the quality is maintained. And the safety for the kids.
Actually, nagkaroon din ako na experience niya na nag-join ako kay Olive. Yung first stream ba natin to? May rumoronda talaga. Ronda yun parang tawag nila. May
Yes.
rumoronda na KUMU police. And hanggang dun sa, remember the poster that you post? It has to be a big picture of you. Dapat kitang-kita yung mukha mo para walang deception or anything ata. Yung ganun yung mga purpose nila. Okay. Mukhang nag-freeze ata ako. Ako ba yung nag-freeze, Eman? Nag-freeze ba ako?
Sandali lang naman. Sandali lang.
Okay. Ayun. So may rumoronda. Okay. We have another question. This one is for JV. Sir JV from Ann Domingo. You mentioned that KUMU is another opportunity to earn money. Can you explain more about this?
Okay. So one would be yung na-mention ni Eman. If you are, let's say, a part of an agency, then tatapatan nila kung ano yung ma-earn mo na diamonds or virtual gifts. So when you are live streaming, if people appreciate your content or natutuwa sila sa'yo, they can send virtual gifts. An example would be, etong nandito, tingnan niyo yung Carlito ko, di ba may corona siya? So merong virtual gifts na Miss Komuniverse. That's my favorite virtual gift. Every time that I receive that, lalab siya, tapos parang animation, maputungan ako ng corona. Now, if I earn up to, let's say, 50,000 diamonds, since I am a bronze bag, when I convert 50,000 diamonds, that is 1,000 pesos. So, every time I create a content, let's say, kunyari, yung singing competition ko, meron akong audience impact doon. Audience impact, they have to send virtual gifts. That's what I can use to convert as to cash. Pwede ko siyang sarili na sweldo ko na or pwede ko siyang gawing papremyo sa contest ko. So, that's how you earn. And at the same time, if you have an agency, dodoblehin nila or tatapatan nila halos ng same amount kung ano yung earn mo na diamond. So basically, more diamonds you earn, the more money that you will earn. From my experience, I am making around 10,000, at least 10 to 15,000 a month. Pero it can shoot up kapag meron akong campaign. Kapag may campaign ako, pwede siyang umabot ng 120. Pero kung kakaririn mo siya talaga, I know someone earned 1 million in a month. 1 million pesos in a month. Sabi ko, friend. Live streaming, guys. Live streaming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Ang laki nun. Okay. Let's just wait. Okay. Next question from Rafael Adasa. Do you think KUMU is a good place to train for production design students or theater arts?
Ako ba sasagot niyan?
Yes, Olive, go.
Yes. Siguro yun yung hindi ko na-mention kanina. Lahat nga ng inaral ko sa KUMU and even Facebook at lahat ng online performances na ginagawa ko, binabalik ko sa classroom. At isa sa mga adjustment ko sa course pack ko ay tinuturuan ko, may isa kaming module doon na tinuturuan ko yung mga estudyante ko how to convert your home spaces to performance spaces. At natutunan ko lang yon nung ginagawa ko yung monovlog from Facebook, na ang aesthetics ko ay pambahay. Di ba merong sa Facebook na hampas lupa version, parang ganon. But when I got to KUMU, biglang naging decente, ganun yung mga background ko because iba rin yung market doon. Yes, nasasanay ka. And siguro ang technique din for me, consistent collaborator ko is si John Carlo Pagunaling. So siya yung gumagawa ng wigs ko at ngayon ay may bago siyang ginagawa. So nagfe-feature din ako ng mga artists sa aking live stream. Yung mga ginagamit kong designs nila, kumbaga pinopromote ko sa KUMU para maintindihan din ng mga tao na hindi nga putyo-putyo yung content mo and you're challenging yourself. Kasi when you go to KUMU, Eric, pare-pareho ng setup. Like, di ba, he's using a V8 sound card. Lahat ng tao may ganon. Lahat may alam mo yung pangalan na kunwari, Eman, tapos nakailaw siya na version. Po sila ng itsura. And ang point sa KUMU is, how do you stand out? At doon pumapasok, laging may advantage pag ikaw ay theater arts. Kasi pag nakita nila, alam mo, walang nakakalimot ng aking wig, walang nakakakalimot ng aking prop na si Alejandro, walang nakakakalimot sa aking theater canopy. I think, nung sabi nga ng mga ka-team ko, pag akyat ko pa lang doon sa OTS, the blue check ay para sa akin na talaga because yun yung never mo makikita sa KUMU. And yun yung ginagawa namin nila Eman, yung team namin nila Eman, nila JV, nila Mark, pinapakita namin yung pag-level up lagi. And I think hindi rin kami naubusan ng content kasi galing kaming theater. Ang foundation mo ay laging imagination at experiment. So yes, this is the time to experiment. Walang magsasabi sa'yo ng tama at mali. Ikaw lang talaga.
Okay. Next question for Miss Olive. You mentioned that you do satire in your contents. Do you ever feel the need to be careful due to our government's tendencies and their followers?
Yes. After yung monovlog 13, yung pang 13 naming monovlog, sakto nun, pagkatapos nun, lumabas yung anti-terror law. Yes, kailangan mo mag-ingat. May workaround kung paano ka gagamit ng lingwahe, pero hindi ito ang panahon para matakot. Sabi nga ni JV, napaka-safe ng KUMU. Yes, ang satire at ang parody ay isang workaround para maging political pa rin yung approach. At kaming tatlo dito, para sa kaalaman ng lahat, may iba kaming advocacy. At isa dito ay hindi tayo matatakot dahil lang doon sa mga ganyang threat. I think it's about time din na ito yung platform. Dahil lahat ng tao ay nasa online na eh. Bakit hindi ka ngayon lalong tumapang? Hindi lang din naman akong gumagawa nito. Marami na. Ginagawa nyo na yan sa Twitter, ginagawa nyo na yan sa Facebook. Ako po, ang paraan ko lang ay performance. So, marami tayo.
Okay. So, may question ulit sa'yo, Olive, actually. Do you select or choose which to absorb from these comments or audience participation? Do you have a criteria in doing so, or do you absorb all, and why?
Mahirap yung absorb all kasi mabilis mag-chat eh. Pag sa KUMU, pag excited yung mga tao, kailangan mong balikan. Ginawa ko dati, na-try ko yan sa Team Ampalaya. Ang bagal ko kasi ang dami na, siguro mga 30 messages na yung nasa baba. Nandun pa lang ako sa pinakauna. Tapos sinabi nila, may delay ba sa internet mo? Bakit ang tagal mo sumagot doon sa iba? Mabilis ang KUMU. So kapag may nag-chat na isang tao, may nag-virtual gift, sama mo siya kaagad kasi matatambakan na siya. And yes, basta nabasa ko siya, kasama na siya sa performance. Dahil nga may recording ako, yung mga na-miss out kong comments, yun yung sinasabi ko doon sa Facebook version ng monovlog.
Okay. Meron tayong isang question actually, how do you guys mentioned that you almost every day go live. How do you prepare for your content going live mentally and physically? Because I think a lot of you mentioned the word endurance and stamina. And that is something that I personally witnessed joining you guys on some of the streams. Talagang napapatahimik ako at napapanganga na lang ako sa inyo because ang haba ng mga live streams. So how do you prepare for it mentally and physically? Anyone? Let's start with JV.
Ako kasi honestly, I'm happy when I'm streaming. It gets me excited. So I have this tendency to plan ahead. So usually when I have my content, I plan it at least siguro mga 1 week ahead. At this point nga, I'm already planning my possible content for the month of May and even June. Kasi I'm enjoying it. But sometimes meron din naman akong content na kunyari nakaupo lang ako sa station ko tapos bigla akong maisip, uy magandang idea, makapag-live stream nga ngayon. And then I will create posters already, tapos magla-live stream na ako and then I will just do it. Kasi for me, KUMU is my safe space. I try to test yung aking mga output dito. If it works, di bongga. Kung hindi siya mag-work, at least I tried. Kasi feeling ko, I got this from Ulib and I still keep this in mind. Now is the best time to commit mistakes. Okay. You can test your ideas. If you commit mistakes, what matters is that you learn from it.
Nice. Okay. Olive, do you want to add something?
Yeah, mabilis lang yung akin. Isa rin yan sa module ko when I'm talking about online performances, na ikaw lahat kasi gumagawa, hindi ka na lang performer. Ikaw na production designer, ikaw na rin taga-ilaw, ikaw na rin sa tech. So, nagko-consume siya talaga ng energy. And sa mga estudyante ko, ang lagi naman nating tinuturo sa theater ay kailangan tansyado mo yung sarili mo bago ka mag-perform. Safety first, yan nga yung sinasabi ko. And para lang din sa kaalaman ng lahat, when I got my blue check, hindi ko alam na may virus na palang nasa loob ng aking body nung time na yon. So, kinaya ko pang mag-perform. And nung pagaling na ako, alam nila JV to, tsaka ni Eman, I had to cancel most of my KUMU invitations kasi sabi ko, hindi ko kakayanin. So, sabi ko, magpapagaling muna ako. Tapos nung Team Ampalaya, napaka-safe space din ng Team Ampalaya kasi sinasabi ko rin sa kanila yung health status ko noon. So yung una kong stream ay recovering pa lang ako noon at talagang sinabi ko ang kaya ko lang ay 1 hour. So you get to dictate. Yun din yung maganda siguro sa KUMU na naintindihan ko rin ay kasi when you belong to a certain company like in theater, di ba pinupush mo yan hanggang matapos na 21 shows na ginagawa mo. Tapos may ka-alternate ka. Dito wala. So ang point nito ay mas may command ka sa iyong artistic practice, mas may command ka kung ano lang yung tatanggapin mong invitations. And I think ito yung hindi tayo sanay kasi tanggap tayo ng tanggap, di ba, ng mga projects. Ngayon, ang natutunan ko dito, unahin mo yung sarili mo because darating naman yung diamonds, kumbaga. So yan. Thank you.
Okay. Eman, would you like to add to that?
Yung sa akin lang, yes, it's true. You have to mentally and physically prepare because the preparation phase it takes longer actually sometimes than the actual live streaming hours. Kaya kailangan mo ding malaman kung kailan okay, tama na, pahinga muna. Because there is also exhaustion and burnout. That is one of the reasons kung bakit isang linggo akong hindi nag-stream after a campaign. Because it was very, very mentally and physically exhausting. Pero ganun, you balance it out by knowing when to rest and knowing when to fight and return.
Okay. There's this question from Mr. Melvin Lee from Facebook. Do you think KUMU will be a sustainable platform, and will you stay even after the pandemic? That's a very good question, actually. Let's start with Emman.
First?
Emma naman ngayon. Si Emman muna.
Sige.
Emman, go ahead.
I believe it will be a sustainable platform even after the pandemic, because we've seen how during the time when the pandemic laid low in the country, there were still a lot of streaming going on KUMU. And there have been people who have been on KUMU for more than a year and counting now, and they are still there. And as I have observed, the reason why they stay is because there is still room for them and a platform for them to evolve and change and to create something new. It's like having a talk show that lasts for years because you have an audience for it. I guess aside from the personal stamina of the performer, it also boils down to how your audience will still accept you. If there is still an audience that will accept you and receive your content, then there is reason for stay. And if for that, I will stay for a long time.
Okay. How about you, Olive?
Yes, siguro para sa akin, ang hirap kasi nung term na sustainable, lalo na nasa Pilipinas kang context. Wala namang sustainable eh. Like, tingnan mo yung nangyari sa pandemic, lahat ng auditoriums natin nagsara, and we can't even help our freelance actors, freelance performers. Hindi tayo nagpo-push ng art policies na kailangan. Maraming artists ngayon. Mahirap yung tinatawag na sustainability. And I think yung KUMU, yung isa sa mga sumalo doon ng kabuhayan ng ating mga artists. Karamihan ng theater actors na kakilala ko ay nasa KUMU ngayon, at ito ang kanilang source ng income nila. Hanggat meron tayong internet, hanggat may mobile data, marami akong kakilala nag-mobile data ng KUMU. May tinatawag nga dito, JV, tama ba ako? Bulsahan. May bulsahan na kung kunwari generous ka as a live streamer, aakyat sa stream mo yung mga tao, tapos magbabagsak ka ng diamonds, namimigay sila, parang GCash, namimigay din ganon. Yes, parang ano siya ngayon, sa mga naka-cancel na franchise ng mga network, dito sila pumupunta. So may nakikita silang opportunity na tatagal to. Tama ako, di ba, JV? Karamihan din ng artists ng ABS-CBN ay nandito na. Isa pa ay si Emman ay isang magandang testament. Si Emman ay isang OFW. Si JV ang una nag-introduce sa akin nito na karamihan ng OFW ay walang makausap. Ang KUMU ang kanilang site. Hindi mo kasi siya magagawa sa Facebook. Kasi sa Facebook, kailangan friend mo yung tao. Eto, kahit saan pwede ka umakyat. So, may binibigay ang KUMU na hindi natin nakukuha from other apps. So, yes, it's gonna stay. Siguro, pag kunwari nakita-kita na tayo ng personal, nandyan pa rin yan. Ang Facebook nga, gamit pa rin natin after ilang years.
Yeah. And of course, JV?
Yes, I really see that it will stay. When I started in KUMU, inisip ko hanggang saan ba ito aabot. Itigil ba to kapag nawala na yung pandemic? But then I realized ang daming factors to consider. Number one, habit forming ang KUMU. Kasi abot na sa point, I am confident that Uleb and Emman, from time to time, ibang gusto nilang buksang app na open nila KUMU. Nangyayari yon. So, since it's habit forming, eventually you will be there. O, di ba natawa sila? Kasi nangyayari yan. And then, merong captured audience na si KUMU. Kung ikaw ay isang performer, ano bang hinahanap natin? We are looking for an audience. Now, you have audiences from all over the world. So, pwedeng yung mga nasa Pilipinas, umalis sila sa KUMU, may papalit at papalit na bago. And also, if you're looking for sustainability, napakalakas mong bigay ng virtual gifts ng mga OFWs. So, I'll be honest, mostly sila, sa kanila nanggagaling yung pag-sustain ko.
Yeah.
So basically, may captured audience ka na in that platform. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. And ang pinakamahalaga, you don't have to move. You don't have to travel. You're just at the comforts of your own home. It's just a matter of how strategic will you be with your content. Kaya ako nagko-competition ngayon, singing contest. Minsan nagpapa-game show din ako. So it's all about balancing lang the things that you want to do. Sustainable, it can be. Depends on you.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, we're down to our last question. So may mga several questions pa that are coming through. Tatry kong tuhugin na lang to para isang question na lang, no? From an aspiring video game streamer here, I am very introverted person and I still feel awkward to record myself while I play, and I seem very quiet when I do. Are there any tips that you can give me or maybe starting points so I can improve this problem? So parang kanina, actually si JV lang nagsabi na siyang extrovert, no? I think Eman and Olive, like me, are all introverts, no? So ano yung tips niyo para sa kanya? And also, there's this question from Facebook from John Trompeta regarding content. It is possible na magiging magkakamukha, no? Same content as other people have. So how can you also be unique and different in a way that people will love or welcome what you create? So tips for introvert and how do you become unique?
Ako doon
Okay.
sa introvert lang. Yes, kasi sa Kumu mas komportable ako solo stream nga. So wag makipag-usap ka lang sa tao sa chat or wag mo masyadong kumbaga mamili ka lang ng ini-engage mo. So pwedeng doon ka mag-start. Kasi ako sabi ko nga kay JV dati, 30 minutes lang ako tas hindi ko na kaya. So ikaw din mag-limit sa sarili mo kung paano. And yes, kung video gamer ka, tinuturuan ko lang si Sir Eric kahapon na pwede siyang content sa Kumu. Ginagawa siya ng maraming tao at pumapasok talaga ako sa stream ng mga gamers. Tapos naka-project lang yung mukha nila. Go na go yon, kaya yon. Tapos ginagawa ko rin kasi siya sa Facebook Live. Meron akong Animal Crossing, tapos may mukha ako. Pwede siyang, sa Facebook Live ko siya ginagawa. Tatry ko pa lang siya sa Kumu, unti-unti. So, pwede mo siyang gamitin na content. And yes, about pagka-unique ng content, halos lahat naman kami, parang nagpo-perform kami lahat. May mga kantahan katulad ni Eman, may hosting katulad ni JV, may acting din katulad ko. Pero paano siya naiiba? Yun din ang tinuturo natin sa theater. Ano bang unique? Ano ba yung gusto mo talagang gawin? Baka yun dapat yung nagmamatter. Kasi sabi nga din sa akin ni JV dati, kung wala kang sariling identity or personality or sariling creative process, manggagaya ka lang lagi sa iba. Pero may tinuturo nga tayo sa theater, beg, borrow, steal. 'Di ba? So ako minsan nakakakuha ko ng ideas. Ang ginagawa namin nila JV at nila Eman, umiikot kami sa mga streams, nakikipagkilala kami. Tapos nakakakuha kami ng idea na ito pala to, pwedeng mash up ito. So kung kunwari kayo rin ay interested sa ganon, kami ni Eman ay may gagawin na live stream mamaya sa kanyang channel ng 6 p.m. So makikita ninyo paano namin ginagawa yung monologue na songs, pero iba't ibang versions naman siya bukod sa ginawa ni JB tsaka sa akin. And yes, ang Kumu ay para mag-enjoy ka at mag-experiment. May magiging kapareho ka lagi, pero magsa-stand out ka kasi nga it's either meron kang design or kung ano man na hindi nila makikita ever sa iba.
Okay. Quickly, because you have a live stream, Eman, comments?
Yun nga, yung kagaya ng sinabi ko kanina, being unique is actually finding what works for you as well. Hindi mo kailangan na maging sobrang iba sa iba, but then you have to find something that you think is your specialty. Dahil lahat naman tayo, maraming kanya-kanyang specialty. May kapareho kang 10 tao na may specialty, pero at least 10 kayo out of 7 million, hindi ba? So, always laging meron tayong magiging kapareho, but the way we deliver our own content will make the difference.
Yes. Okay. JV, last words.
The last words to support what Olivia and Eman said, just to add to that, do it excellently, whatever it is. Just be excellent at what you do. Like I have my own singing competition. Ang daming singing competition. My price is only 10,000. Yung merong singing contest, ang price 100,000. Pero sumasabay ako. So it's just a matter of doing things excellently kasi kahit mataas yung price nila, mabilis ang program ko. Yung sa iba, they have their own format. Ang price ko, maliban sa 10,000, nagbibigay ako ng blue check. So yung mga ganong little things, you just have to be strategic with how you will deliver it. Kasi ultimately, kahit naman sa theater gaano ba karaming production na ba ng Midsummer Night's Dream ang naganap pero ginagawa nyo pa rin ang Midsummer Night's Dream? Diba?
True.
So it's just about the execution and that's it.
Okay. So thank you very much, JV, Olive, and Eman. They have a 6 p.m. live stream also. No? So after this webinar, you can go download KUMU. And if you have KUMU, you go to their channel so you can also watch. So thank you very much, guys. Okay. Bye. Thank you. All right. Thank you for all speakers for their valuable sharing this afternoon. We encourage you to continue the conversation online through various social media channels. You can tag our speakers using their social media handles that they have provided us. You can visit their KUMU profiles as well. And we invite you to help us improve this webinar series by completing a quick survey, which will be posted occasionally or have been posted occasionally in the Facebook comment section of this live stream. We are open to suggestions for future webinar topics that might interest you. A recording of our session will be made available on our YouTube channel in the coming weeks, so please check back to this Facebook page in the coming days for the announcement. And please keep yourselves updated to our webinar sessions, especially the last one tomorrow, and fresh new episodes that we will be creating in the coming months based on your suggestions. And of course, while you're here, might as well like and share our page. So speaking of upcoming webinars, we will close the season of Be Together tomorrow, April 17, with the episode Up to Date. Applications to boost productivity and student life with Ms. Isabella Peterson and Ms. Julia Enriquez and myself. Again, all these webinars are curated and produced for you, so please check our Facebook page for updates. And lastly, this webinar series is entirely online, free, and open to the public as part of Benilde's fundraising collaboration with De La Salle Philippines Kada Uno on the project BARKada Uno, Benilde Artists Rising, #Bangon Artista, an online fundraising event that seeks to assist the most vulnerable members of the art and culture sectors. So please donate what you can to these bank channels. We have Banco de Oro, Bank of the Philippine Islands, Rizal Commercial Bank Corporation, and Security Bank Corporation. You can also donate via PayPal. Just look for De La Salle Philippines. Send the deposit slips to kadauno@delasalle.ph. And as we end this webinar episode, allow me to thank those who have helped in making this series possible. The School of Design and Arts, headed by our Dean, Architect Dottie Acela Domingo. The Benilde Arts and Culture Cluster, headed by Associate Dean Magdalena De Leon. Our faculty and students in the Theater Arts program. Benilde's Culture and Arts Unit with Ms. Louise Diane Estrella as OIC Director. Our media and communications partners, Cultural Promotions Team, headed by Ms. Julia Enriquez. And of course, we would like to thank the invaluable efforts of our OJTs from the Theater Arts and the Production Design programs. Again, we thank you very much for joining us today, and we hope to see you tomorrow, same time, same channel, for our last episode for this season. Thank you very much and have a great evening.